Welcome to DAX Machina.
And the technical difficulties
Welcome
start.
to DAX Machina. Join us as we explore the mysteries of this world. Cryptids, monsters, macabre tales, and horror stories abound. Could they be true? Are monsters real?
Good evening, folks, and thank you for joining us on another edition of DAX Machina. We've already got the technical glitches out of the way right off the bat. The videos, none of the videos wanted to start when they were supposed to, so we're off and running, and you know, all points bulletin is going wide because the technical glitches are already underway. So God knows what's going to happen next. You know, we might start speaking Chinese for all I know. Joining me tonight in the audience is in the studio is Robbie Rip Rains, my brother from South Crackalacky. We got Kerry Pocket Doc Davis. We actually had a Pocket Doc sighting this week. He's still recuperating from his stint as a leprechaun last St. Patty's Day, and y'all eventually spit that out. And joining us tonight is our special guest, Alan Gamboa. He is a fantastic writer. I've known this guy for a good number of years. We write very similarly. We both do military blend with a lot of action, a lot of action based, military based, even law enforcement based horror. Just an absolute awesome writer, fantastic dude, and hell of a good guy to know. So, Alan, take it away and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm leaving now. You said all there is to be said, man. I can't follow that up. My wife doesn't even compliment me that much, man. I'm done. Thanks.
Well, your check cleared, so
that did okay. That explains it. My name's Alan Gamboa. I'm a retired California correction officer. Don't hold California against me. Don't live there anymore. I was Air Force. I was in the Air Force as a sergeant. Left the Air Force, went into corrections, retired, and started writing after that. Stuff that I love to write, man. Just like you, Doug. You know, you write stuff that you liked, and that's what comes out. I write the Operation Zulu Dead Island series. 5 Roads to Texas with W.J. Lundy, Brian Parker, J.L. Bourne, Rich Baker, and Joseph Hansen and A.J. Powers. Write that series with them. I've got a book out called Zombie Island, and another one. My newest book is Hunt the Night with Silent Studios and Jason Wright. And I write horror. I write some zombies. Well, a lot of zombies, but I do like monsters. And my last book has monsters in it. So.
Well, zombies are fun to write because they're the perfect excuse for just to shoot them up.
Oh yeah.
They let you take your frustrations out.
Yeah. I wrote a foreword for one of James Wallace's newest book coming out, and I asked him why zombies, right? And he gave me this deep answer, you know. And mine was, well, when I saw my first zombie movie, man, I just wanted to go in a mall, shoot zombies, and loot. You know, I was a teenager, or it sounded great to me. You know, I didn't.
When I started writing my zombie series, I worked as a corrections officer, and I used to go home and just mentally envision walking into a pod and just unloading.
Well, you were used to working with zombies, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's a good, definitely.
Hey, you've got some cheerleaders in the crowd tonight.
Oh,
Tony Kanaka says, "Love the Dead Island series."
Oh, Tony's a great fan. He's a fan of all things horror and all of us horror writers and stuff. Tony's a good dude. He's probably met more horror celebrities than we know.
Tony's an awesome dude. He's been a longtime fan of the show.
Yeah.
So, what made you start? What made you want to be a writer?
When I was a kid, I always wanted to write my own stories. You know, my dad had a big collection of like Ray Bradbury, Edgar Rice Burroughs, John Carter of Mars, Tarzan, all that stuff. I started reading those, and I really dug. That really got me into reading was a fantasy series, and I thought I could write my own stories. When Star Wars came out, I think I was in junior high, and I wrote my own little Star Wars story. It was a complete ripoff. It was a space pirate and his sidekick rescuing a princess.
Sounds like Ice Pirates.
Yeah. Now I would write something like Ice Pirates, man.
I loved that movie.
I did too. That was one of my favorite movies.
That's a great
Same.
flick. Underrated.
It's called
Very underrated.
Burpees.
Yeah.
What?
Perfect cast, man. Robert Urich was awesome as the main dude in that. But
He was a better actor than people gave him credit.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Hey, John Matuzak did a good job too, though.
Oh yeah, he was great. What was it? Name? Gosh, I can't think of her name now. Played the female lead.
You would
Angela.
ask me that.
Are you talking about the princess, or you talking about the other pirate?
The other pirate. The princess is great though.
Yeah, the other that was God. What was the? She was in Lonesome Dove. Da. She played Gus's Angela something or another.
Bassett?
No, she played Gus's. She played Clara in Lonesome Dove.
Angelica.
No, you're talking about
Angelica
Angelica
Houston.
Houston.
Yeah, she's great. But yeah, that's a good movie, man. Stuff like that you wish you could have wrote, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you started to saying that. I'm like, that sounds like Ice Pirates.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't as funny.
We just derailed a little early tonight. That's all.
Oh yeah, we tend to derail quite a bit.
A lot.
I love that.
I'm afraid it does happen.
Yeah, I love that. That's how we do on oh yeah, also I host Watching Weird with Rich Restucci, Hadley Thorne, and Scott Baker. Those are three really good writers. Horror zombie. Rich Restucci does zombies a lot. Scott Baker, he does zombies a lot. Hadley does like romantic fantasy stuff, you know. Her writing's really good. So we all go down rabbit holes like I just did. We on that show, you know, we start talking about a movie and then we just go off on a tangent. And
Oh
so-
yeah.
That's generally how it happens here.
I popped into the conversation on a few of your shows. Yeah, you guys go down the rabbit holes the same way we do.
Yeah, that's fun, right? I mean, as long as you come back sometime.
Yeah,
we will eventually wander back to the topic.
we talk about a lot of stuff, and sometimes a topic even sprinkles its way in there, you know. So that's kind of the way we are. But we have a great time doing it. It's just like what DA says, probably the same thing with y'all, Alan. It's just like a bunch of folks just hanging around, you know, sitting around a campfire talking and shooting the breeze.
That's it. Those are the best podcasts. Those are the best.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
There's none of this structured. Where were you on the night of the 24th of September? There's none of that. It's just us being idiots.
Movies and food are usually what derail us more than anything.
I can see that. That's
Yes.
Yeah.
Very resemble that remark. So anyway, Alan, you were saying?
Where were we? What show is this? Where were we?
I don't know.
No, I always wanted to be a writer. Well, you know what I wanted to be? As a director, actually. I wanted to make movies, you know, and that never happened. So I made them on paper, movies on paper. And that's why my stories move like that, is because I write them like a movie. And I think screenwriters have it easy, man, because they don't have to write the emotion. You know, they could write, this person's sad, they walk through a door. You know, us, we got to explain, you know, oh, Bill had a bad day at work. Oh, he kicked his pet. Well, kicked his pet giraffe because I don't want to say dog because, you know, people get upset at cat. There's probably giraffe lovers out there. I'll probably get feedback from that. Sorry.
Sure. But anyway, you know, won't be the first time, won't be the last time. Damn giraffe lovers.
I always thought it'd be easier to be a screenplay writer, though, you know, because you don't have to add all that. You don't have to describe a building. You know, you're just writing the action. Yeah. And to me, actions and dialogue, you know, that's a lot of fun, is the dialogue and the action. It's describing a building or, you know, what they're wearing or stuff like that bogs me down.
Yeah. I try not to spend a whole lot of time on that. Like if I first introduce a character and I think it's relevant, I'll describe what they're wearing.
Right.
But for the most part, I just let people assume they're wearing clothes and move on.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
I didn't say they showed up naked, so you can put whatever clothes you want on them.
Yeah, like this one, I had a character that's wearing she's wearing I'm just here for the shirt and VDU pants throughout the whole throughout the whole thing. They're in space too, and throughout the whole story, you know. So I mention it once or twice, and that's it. Then you got to keep with it. You know, it's on you.
Yeah.
It's on
Right.
you.
I mean, you don't want to go back every chapter and describe the same details over and over
No,
again. That would
no.
that would bog the story down. It would slow everything to a crawl. Plus, and then it's just being redundant. I
Yeah.
mean, we all know those authors, Stephen King, who will spend 4 pages discussing how the history of a table. But there are a bunch of authors out there that will beat you to death with details,
Oh,
and
yeah.
those are the ones that lose my attention pretty quick. I like the details, and I think establishing the baseline details are what the story rests on. But at that point, you've got to tell the story. You can't mire yourself down with the history of this table that came over on the Mayflower and ended up in this guy's attic. It's nobody cares. It's a damn table. Just say table and move on.
Right. I mean, now Dean Koontz, love him or hate him, I love his writing. I like his writing style because he does chapters that can be 2 pages long, and that's what I do. You know, I'll do chapters that are 2 pages long, 5 pages long, 20 pages long. You know, I just whatever hits. I think, you know, because I don't like to move like a character doing this and then in the same chapter have a different, you know, another character doing something else. I like to just kind of present it as that's a chapter with that character in there, and then here's another chapter with another character doing whatever they're doing.
Right.
You know, and then I like to grab, you know, like if a guy says something snarky in it, I'll use that as the chapter heading. You know, so usually my chapter headings, whatever someone said or something stupid they done, that's usually a chapter. You know, like your grandma's panties or something like that. That'll be the name of a chapter. You know, there's some chapters I can't even say on the air, but I'm amazed I got away with it. But
well, you know, it's easier to do it in print when you don't have to submit
yeah,
to like the Comics Code Authority or the movie rating system.
right. And I
As
don't
long as your publisher's okay with it, you're usually gold.
yeah. Like with my stories, there's not the ones I write for me. The ones I write for Silent Studio, they like to have a lot of steamy scenes in it, or a few steamy scenes in it. And so I'll put those in there for that series. But for the series I write, the people that usually just are in there for that series, like the Dead Island series, I really don't throw any romance or sex in it. You know, there's stuff alluded to.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't know that I would write that kind of scene well. So if that's going to happen, I kind of build up to it and then I move on.
Yeah,
You just assume it happened and I went on my way.
yeah, because everybody knows. Everybody, you've had sex. We've all had sex. I don't need, But with the Silent Studios, Jason Wright, bless his heart, he loves having cheerleaders in his stories. He loves having lesbians in his stories. And so I got to maneuver around those and figure out where I can work at for those stories. Those ones my kids, I'd rather not have read. It's not throughout the stories, but if it was up to him, the whole story would be about that. So the ones I write for Silent Studios are a little different than my stories. My stories are all blood and guts and but Silent Studios are blood and guts and a little bit of naughtiness, I guess I can say. So if you're looking for a little bit of TNA, read my Silent Studio books.
I was always a fan of when I was in high school, I was always, and I would read bigger books like Frank Herbert or the Tolkien series. I would read those bigger books, but if something to throw in my backpack to read between classes or to read on the bus, I grabbed a ton of those old like survivalist and Mac Bolan books, and I liked those easy to read, rapid paced, fast paced, a lot of action books. And that's kind of how I write. That's kind of how I cut my teeth as a writer, because that's what I wanted to write. I wanted something that told a story but still did it at a fast pace.
Right. That's what a lot of people like. I mean, there's people out there that they want to read historical stuff tied in, and a lot of explanation of what the surroundings are and stuff like that. And then there are people that are just in there for, I want this, just excitement all the way through, And I realized with my last book, Ravenous, it's just one big chase story. You know, when I finished it up, it's like, wow, this is just chase from the beginning and with different characters getting, you know, joining the chase along the way. And that one got a lot of good reviews. I mean, I think it's the most well-reviewed books. I was surprised because it's a short one, I think. But yeah, I like action too. I don't like a lot of filler, you know. If you can't make 70,000 words, then don't make 70,000 words. But give me a story that's tight. You know.
I mean, I do short stories. Well, I call them short stories, but according to the guidelines, they're 15 to 20,000. So I guess that would actually technically make them a novella. But I write these 15 to 20,000 short stories, but 20,000 word short stories, where I tell like a compacted story, but
Right.
it's generally pretty much action beginning to end, and it's something a story I wanted to tell, but not necessarily big enough to fill an entire novel. And I use these short stories as segues between books.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, because sometimes a story is only 10,000 words long.
Yeah.
You know, that story, you don't need to pad it out, you know, and so those are hard to sell though, you know, 'cause people, you know, I can see with the Kindle program, you know, where you can read for free, you know, you get paid by the page, but those are hard to sell because a lot of people, they don't want to pay $4 or $5 for you know, a novella or $3 for a novella.
Right.
You know, a lot of people want to pay $3 for a whole story, you know, so those are hard to market, but they're
Yeah,
cool.
but you know, even if you did the Kindle Vella thing and dropped them out at $1 a shot, I mean, you can still get quite a few hits that way.
Yeah.
Have you done any of the Kindle Vella? I haven't tried it.
Yeah, I did. And I dropped a story that I'm writing right now. I'm going to make it a book, actually. And it just, I was not getting the hits on it. And so I thought, I'm just going to pull it out. And that's what she said. And make it a novel itself. So that's what I did is I pulled out of the program. There's a lot of people, though, if you've got a really big fan base, like you would do well, I think, in Vella. It works good. If your fan base, if you don't have that big of a fan base, you know, people that get your books and stuff, I don't think the Vella's worthwhile. But I think if you have a lot of books out there and you're marketing and you got a lot of fans, I think it's worth trying. Me, I tried it and I just didn't like the results I was getting from it, so I pulled the book out of it.
I'm sitting on about half a dozen unreleased short stories that are all pretty long. Um, I've put most of them on my Patreon to let the patron community read them, but they haven't been released anywhere else yet. So yeah, I'm looking at either doing the Vella or just doing another anthology. I guess it's really not an anthology if it's just you, but I did one before where it was just a collection of my own short stories.
It's a anthology. Yeah. You know what? You should maybe try that. Try Vella. Try dropping some of your stories on there and see, because you've already got a catalog that you've already had written. So all it's investing you is a little bit of time to put on there, and you can
You need
always
to put a cover on them, or
yeah. You know, just do some, you know, Photoshop thing. You don't really invest a lot into, but it's good to have a cover. So drop a cover on there, you know, and see what happens. I think it might pan out really good for you, man.
I might give that a shot.
You know,
I've been wondering about that for a while.
Yeah, because you can just program in, you know, when each chapter drops. You know, I think you got to drop 3 chapters at the first, and then you can do it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever you want. You can set it for that. But yeah, try it, man. I'd be curious to, you know, I think all I could do is make you money.
Worst case scenario, you know, it doesn't really sell that well, and I pull it and put it in a collection anyway. So I guess I can give it a shot.
Like I said, you've got a pretty good fan base, so I think you'll do well. You know,
you could
and
call
there's a lot. I'm sorry.
He could call it the cryptid compendium.
There you go.
I like that, Doc.
Thank you. Say more than just a hat rack.
Doc, say that 10 times real fast, man.
Dude, I was good enough to get it out once, so that was about it. Like that Toby Keith song. So.
Yeah, Villa didn't work for me, but I only put one story on there. I think do it, DA, do it.
Might have to give that a run, see how it works out.
Yeah.
You were Air Force,
Yeah, sir.
so was Doc over here. You guys were had to gang up on me now that I'm just the only Army guy. Usually we've got Anthony here who is a Marine, and we've let the crayon jokes fly, but but he's not here to defend himself, so we'll shy away from the crayon jokes.
He don't defend
But
himself.
thank you
he's
for your
here.
service, brother.
You're welcome. Thank you for your guys' service. Did you get your Denny's meal? No,
I try to avoid Denny's. Nothing there particularly heart healthy.
well, there was for me because that's where I met my wife. So I did get good at Denny's. I think it was the most expensive meal on there, but I got it.
And for an extra $1.99, you can get chili thrown all over it.
Probably. I don't know. I hope she's not watching. She might be watching.
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving all year long.
Definitely. Definitely.
Oh, we lost Doc.
Oh Lord,
I broke it, did Doc.
broke me.
Oh, hey, we got a super sticker. Hey, Sentinel's in the house. Thank you for the super sticker, brother. Appreciate it.
Nice.
Thanks, brother.
Nice.
Wow.
So you and I were talking, before we came on the air, and you have a cryptid story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'd love to hear it.
I don't know if any of you know where Crescent City, California is, but it's like about 12 miles from the Oregon border, and it's right in the heart of the redwoods, and we're right by the ocean. We lived like 2 miles from the ocean, and the redwoods were right like 500 feet from our house. I mean, beautiful area, but it's always gray. It's always gray. Anyway, there's a lot of Bigfoot sightings there. I never saw one, and I would go hiking. My daughter loved to go hiking, so we'd go hiking a lot up there. But a buddy of mine I work with, another officer I work with, and he was a black officer, and I'm saying that because it has to do with the story. So we're sitting there one day in the office, in the unit office, and we're talking, and we start talking about Bigfoot and stuff like that. And we're like, I believe there's something out there. I would love for something to be out there. I definitely would love for there to be some kind of creature. I don't want to have to be packing to get out to my car every night, but I wish I had something like that, So anyway, we're talking about it, and he says, I saw a Bigfoot once, and we're like, oh really? And he said, yeah. And this guy was, man, dead serious, and he's really an honest guy. I mean, we have no reason to doubt him. He's just straight up kind of guy. And he tells us, he says, I was coming to work, and I stopped at a stop sign. And it was kind of a woodsy area. There's a highway, and you're at the stop sign, and there's like a marsh and stuff, and it was foggy. And he said he's waiting at the stop sign for some cars to go by, and there's a bang on his passenger side window, and he jumps and he looks over there, and there's a hairy, white, furred female, and it's just on the side of his car, and it's just standing there, and he's like, he froze. He said, I just froze, and he's looking, and she just kind of growls and runs off. And we said, how do you know it was a female? He says, because she had these big old breasts and this white fur. And we're like, and he swears that he saw that. And,
I ran into the side of his vehicle?
Yeah.
Or did it hit it?
It hit it. And, we said, were there any prints or anything? He said, he just kind of brushed that off like he really never checked because he was so, it shocked the hell out of him. But
if you're sitting at a stop sign, that's the last thing you're expecting to hit the side of your car.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've never heard of like a Yeti or something with white fur and stuff, but I've never heard of a Bigfoot.
There's quite a few accounts of white ones being seen all over the U.S.
Wow. Well, I thought it was mostly like a Yeti or.
There was I think that one that told you about that happened right around the time of my sighting, DA. I want to say that one was white.
Wow.
William Nighthawk says white-haired Bigfoot have been seen in Pennsylvania.
Wow. Well, now there's one seen in Northern California, man. This is probably about 15 years ago, I think. He told us a story. He also told us there was a ghost in his house that would sleep in bed with him and his wife. So I don't know if that counts for anything, but I do.
It would probably make me want to move.
Yeah, right.
I'll deal with something that's a physical threat, but you start throwing ghosts at me, and I'm like,
And
look at the time.
He said it was a female ghost, so he obviously attracts female cryptids and female ghosts. So I don't know, but this dude is like, we didn't have any reason to doubt him. We thought it was kind of weird because none of us ever heard of a white, Bigfoot, and he swore up and down, So I don't know, but I've been up through those woods a lot, and I'd never seen any trace of that. But that's just me, and I'm not, specifically looking for that.
Right. Have you ever heard anything bizarre?
No. No. I've had a couple run-ins with bears, but no, never. Paranormal monotony. Yeah, maybe that's why he didn't sell his house. Yeah. Maybe he's getting some kind of benefit.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like Dan Aykroyd in Ghostbusters.
I was just thinking about
Could
that.
very well be.
If I could cross my eyes like he did.
That was his wife. Donna Dixon was the ghost.
Really?
Yep.
Sure, that's cool.
Yeah,
speaking of that, Dan Aykroyd is big into the paranormal.
Yeah. I've seen
Really?
he's done a couple.
He's huge into the paranormal.
Yeah.
Well,
I would love to get him on the show, but I just don't think I've got the reach to quite get a Dan Aykroyd yet.
I don't know. This is Dan Aykroyd 2023, so maybe you might be able to.
I guess worst he could do is say no.
Yeah.
If anybody out there knows how to get a hold of Dan Aykroyd, let me know. We'll all sit around drinking Crystal Skull vodka and talk about the paranormal.
Now, I've had some paranormal experiences, but I've never had any cryptid experiences.
What kind of paranormal experiences have you had?
Well, once when I was at Chanute Air Force Base, my roommate had gone to Chicago for the weekend. Is in Illinois, and so I was in my room, and I had this remote control Jeep, and I took the batteries were out of it, and we had they have a lot of electrical storms and stuff like that, and so my neighbors, the dudes next door, they're playing Black Sabbath really loud, man. I can hear it through the walls. I'm trying to watch on my little tiny TV in my room, and it's just a creepy vibe, right? Well, all of a sudden the Jeep on my shelf, those shelves, the standard Air Force shelves they have, in those rooms, or Army probably has them too. But
we had wall lockers.
Oh, okay. Well, Air Force, we have shelves. Anyway, the Jeep goes across the shelf, stops, right? And I'm like, that's weird. And then there's a knock on all the doors in the corridor in the dorm, just bam, 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 bam. And I'm like this far from, I'm probably about, 5 feet from my door. So I run over there, open the door, look all the way down the corridor. I don't see anybody. And I see other guys start to open their doors and look out, right? And everybody's like, what the, everybody thought someone was playing around. So I get back in there, look at my Jeep, and because I swore I took the batteries out. Batteries are out. And there's a remote, but there's no batteries in the remote either. So I thought that was weird,
That is weird.
The next morning, we're downstairs eating breakfast, and everybody's in the day room talking. And there were guys that had all kinds of paranormal experiences that night. It was really weird. But people were talking about like their roommates were gone for the weekend, and people would come into the room. One guy had his roommate come up, climb into the top of the bunk, and go to sleep. He woke up the next morning, looked, and no one had been in there at all. Another guy swore that someone was sitting in a chair right across from him, staring at him all night. I mean, it's just weird things that night that happened.
And you said that was at Chanute, Alan?
Yeah, it was at Chanute.
I've heard other folks talk about paranormal experiences up at Chanute.
Really?
Oh, yeah, yeah. There was on. I think it might have even been on a show.
Really?
Yeah. It's let me see here. Paranormal Activity. I mean, I'm just doing a Google search, and Grissom Hall.
Wow.
There was a lot of stuff. Haunting photos and abandoned of Chanute Air Force Base. So yeah, there's been a lot of paranormal activity.
Yeah, it was crazy. I didn't experience anything after that night, but the top floor was empty, but you had to do fire watch, and so you get assigned a fire watch on that floor, and that was creepy, but never anything after that, man. It was just a weird night, And then one time, years later, I was working a unit, I was doing overtime on first watch at Pelican Bay, and I was sitting down at the desk doing some paperwork at night, and I hear this, "I'm still here." And I'm like, I look around, I'm the only one in the office. I look up, my control cop is sitting way across, and these control booths are huge. So he's sitting at the other end of the control booth asleep. So there's no way I could have heard him, or he could have moved and said, "I'm still here." He was that dead to the world. I could hear him snoring. So that creeped me out. I got up, got out of the office, looked around because we had some holding cages in the rotunda there. I'm looking around there, looking to see if somebody had snuck in, but they couldn't because the doors were shut. The control booth officer had to open them, and you could hear, if the door's open, you could hear them go. So I'm looking all over there, looked in the bathroom, looked at everything, nobody there but me, and I was wide awake. So that just creeped me out. I mean, I just like, holy crap, because I heard it. I mean, it's like, "I'm still here," and I'm like,
I'm not.
Would you look at the time?
yeah, the hairs are
Doc,
standing
what
up.
time is it?
It's time to get the hell up out of this place.
Yeah.
Talking about creepy things on Air Force bases. I heard a story just a few weeks ago from a guy that said that there are steam tunnels beneath Minot, and that there's something that lives down there that has run people out of it.
Wow.
Like they'll send maintenance crews down there, and they'll come screaming back out of there like, "There's something down there. We are not going back down."
Yeah, our hospital at Columbus Air Force Base, it was built back in World War II, or right after World War II. And when I worked there, we'd work nights in the ER, and we'd have to man the crash phones in case there was an in-flight emergency or something like that, because it was pilot training base. But that hospital was dead. I mean, bad. So yeah, a lot of paranormal crap happened there.
Yeah, believe it.
Alan, was this you?
Yeah.
I'm right there with
Papers fly.
That was me throwing the paper, and then I couldn't get out because the control booth cop was asleep and couldn't open the door.
All you see is a vapor trail, son.
Yeah.
In the image of me that I used to be in.
Exactly. It's too late. He done got incensed. So,
and a buddy of mine, he was up at the control booth one night, and the electrical rooms have windows like this in them, right? And he swore that there was a guy standing in the electrical room looking out at him. And so he called the watch office, and they sent the S&E officers up to look. They looked in there, couldn't find anything. So then they had to do a search of the unit. They had to do a search all over the place in case it was, an inmate escaping. And they didn't find anything. And he swore that he saw something in there. And he tried to downplay it because, you know how it is with law enforcement. You just, you get teased endlessly, but he swore up and down he saw there was somebody looking at him in that window that night. And even underneath, there's like a space like this underneath the door. And he said there was a shadow that moved. And so that convinced him more than anything. And I'll tell you what, that space under that electrical door really sucks, because I had a bat one night fly into my control booth, and I opened up the electrical room, chased it in there, closed the door. I'm like, thank God. And then that sucker starts climbing out through that little space, man. Bats are.
I'd have been stuffing a towel under there.
So then I was able to chase it out the window of the control booth into the unit. So the inmates had to deal with it. I don't know what happened. A bat, man, they're the devil.
Careful, somebody might eat it.
Hey, that
Could
you
be a
went
topping on
on
ramen.
straight down? Sorry,
well,
broke down into little Jim Carrey.
we had this one time when I was working nights. I was an S&E officer, so I was working in the unit office, the program office on B yard. And so I worked with these two other cops, really cool guys, Randy Deneau and Tony DeLeese. And Randy put this bat. He caught a bat. We had a bat net because we had so many bats out there. And he dropped it in the S&E officer's drawer. We shut the drawer, right? So the next day, the S&E officer opens the drawer up, bat flies out, scares the shit out of him, right? So the next day, we didn't hear anything. So the next day, Randy goes over to that desk where he has had the bat locked up, right? And he goes, man, I wonder if they got the bat out. He opens it up, and the bat flew out, scared the shit out of all of us, man.
I bet.
We got this with his own prank, man. Just there's because
we were the worst about pulling pranks on each other when I was the CEO. Oh my God, we were horrible.
Oh yeah. I had an officer shove 50 bars of soap into my locker, and I open it up, and all these little bars of soap go. And then
I had a guy take a straw and stick it through the little vent tube on my locker and filled it with foamy shaving cream. I opened it and it just everywhere.
I came back from vacation once, and I opened my locker, and there's a basketball in there. I can't get it out. It's stuck the basketball in there, and it pumped it up through the locker hole. It's like
hilarious.
Don't you guys have anything better to do?
No kidding. You'd think, but no. We filled other guys' wall lockers with packing peanuts and crap like that. That's always a good one. They open it and just.
We had a buddy of ours. He went on vacation, and he was a staunch conservative. Not that I'm pretty conservative, but what we did is when Hillary Clinton was big, right? And so we painted his locker pink, and we put all kinds of Hillary Clinton stickers on it. He came back. Oh, he was pissed. He didn't think it was as funny as we did. He forgave us though. So, but yeah, you got to do something. You're right. You got to do something.
Yeah. Like run a bead of super glue around the seam of their locker so they can't open it.
We took some peanut butter, put it on the ear part of our phone, right? And we're going to get one of our partners. Well, the sergeant comes in. He goes, "Hey, I got McCall." Picks it up. He's talking, right? He's talking, and we're just sitting there, just trying not to laugh, right? Hangs his phone up. He's got this big wad of peanut butter right there, and he gets up.
Feel that?
I know, right? And he gets up to leave. We had to tell him. Finally, we had to tell him. He's like, "You guy," he was pretty cool, but we got the wrong guy, man. That happened a lot though, especially with pepper gas. We get the wrong person a lot.
Casualties of war.
There you go. Tony Kanopka says he loves to read a horror novel me and you put together.
Oh, there we go. Apex. Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be fun.
That would be fun, man. There we go. That's a billion seller.
There we go.
Thank you, Tony.
That would be awesome.
Checks in the mail. That'd be fun. I wanted to write in your world. I just, with me, I'm just so slow at writing. Because your world.
Get right at your pace, man.
Your world's awesome. I always like the equipment that you come up with. Some of that gear is just outstanding, and I'm just like, wow, that's pretty neat. My guys are like, hey, I got a Mini 14, and I'm happy. Your guys have something that would drill a hole in the floor and vaporize a Bigfoot.
Maybe not quite that good, but I try to keep the weapon systems to actually what exists.
Yeah.
Like this, you can see the logo there. That's Guncrafter Industries. That Guncrafter Industries 50 GI Glock really exists. I mean, it's a real handgun, and in ballistics test, it punched through 42 inches of ballistics gel.
Jeez. Outstanding.
Thank you, Pat.
Wow. Outstanding. Yeah, I need to I've got some ideas for some weapons on
Dude,
mine.
go for it, man.
Yeah. But I really like some of the systems you have in yours, especially with the bases and stuff like that. I really dig on that. It's really cool.
I do a lot of research.
Yeah.
I'm constantly reading and looking at source material, and and of course, Doc here works for a significant company that we can't name because of they're not a sponsor. So we just say he works for a significant company in the firearm industry, and so I get a lot of cutting edge shit from him.
Nice to have friends.
Oh yeah.
Nice to have connected. Yeah, but no, pulling pranks is. We had this one prank, and then I won't bore you anymore about pranks. We had this bud. There's 5 of us that worked in this unit because we worked in a psych unit, so we had a lot of officers in there. So we had this one officer that he would love to tell tall tales. Great guy, loved to tell tall tales though. He was a horseman. He had some horses and stuff, and he comes in one day and it's just him and I in the office, and he's like, "Oh man," I said, "What's wrong? What's wrong, Merle?" And he's like, "Man, I hurt my back." I said, "Well, how'd you hurt your back?" He says, "Well, I went down on a horse this weekend." And you're perpetually 12 years old, right?
Sorry, I'm 12 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I said, "You went down on a horse?" He said, "Yeah, I went down on a horse, man." And so everyone's off. I'm working the weekend. Everybody's off, all the regular guys. So I'm just holding on to this. And then as soon as the first regular officers come in, I said, "Merlin told me he went down on a horse this weekend." So poor Merlin had a year of horse fellatio jokes. I mean, it was just all kinds of mercilessly, right?
I was wondering if that's where this was going.
He's got a good sense of humor, but not for stuff like that. And so finally it was getting to him. So about a year into it, one of my partners, John Daniels, said, "Hey, we need to make a treaty on this, make some peace with it, and knock off make a moratorium on horse fellatio jokes." So we're like, "Okay, all right, we'll do that. We'll do that." We're all, smirking. So we get write a card. "Sorry, Merle, we won't do it again." And so a buddy of mine, Todd Wiedemann, he has these level 1 inmates take these paper sacks and draw horse faces on them. So there's these 6 sacks with horse faces on them, right? So we're all sitting in the office. We turn the lights off, and Merlin's out doing something. He comes back in. He opens the door. He turns the light on, and he sees these 6 guys sitting there with horse mask on. And he starts beating us all. And this guy was probably about 50 years old, but he is tough as leather. And he starts hitting all of us, right? And so so that joke just went for a year, man. And other officers, it went throughout the prison. So we stopped teasing him about it. We gave him the card and everything. He was all happy, right? So one weekend, it's him and I again. He comes in. He goes, "Yeah, I was out hunting, man." And he's out bear hunting. He goes, I was boning out this young bear. And I said, "What, Merle?" He says, "I was boning out this and this guy was comedy gold. Just another. So it was a year of bear sodomy jokes after that.
Like on Super Troopers.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Come out yet too, and that would have been great because we could have used that on him. But
I just had this vision of young Frankenstein. Every time they said Frau Blucher, when he'd walk by, we'd be like.
People would cut out horse heads and put it on his locker, and it went good. It was gold, man. I felt sorry for him, man.
That's brutal. That's the kind of crap that officers do to each other, though. This is the side the side of being an officer that the general public usually never sees.
Yeah, exactly. And you're thinking, I'm getting paid to, load this guy's locker with soap.
Judy Davis had a great comment. She said, "Reading your books helps me shock my son and grandson with gun knowledge I learned from you. Just as an extra bonus. Granny isn't supposed to know what dragon's breath or what a 50 cal will do." That's awesome.
You reading your books, man.
So glad I can help.
I hear
That is freaking awesome.
I hear in the new John Wick he uses dragon's breath, man.
Mm-hmm. And in the first one, he used a Keltec KSG, which I've got one over there in the gun cabinet right there.
Nice. Have you seen the new John Wick yet?
No, I have not. I want to.
I hear it's great.
I hear good things,
Mm-hmm.
but I liked all the others. So I mean,
Yeah.
Keanu was kind of perfect for that.
He was.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's like too bad he's getting older. It's like, come on, man, you can make 20 of these.
Yeah. Well, in the first one, the whole Baba Yaga speech is to me is one of the most classic, like, build up suspense for a character speeches I've ever heard in a movie. But he's, he told him with a pencil. A pencil.
That to me, the first one was the best in content. I mean, it gets better with action as the movies go on. 2 and 3, the action gets a lot better. But to me, the story was better. It was just a nice story, revenge story, and you never see one with a, killing everybody because of his dog.
Yeah.
And
when he was training for that film, those films, he spent a lot of time right down here in, I think it's Berryville, Arkansas, or Fayetteville, where Wilson Combat's at. He went down there he trained 3-gun courses.
And he's good too. Have you seen the video of him going through?
Yeah.
He runs 3-gun courses, and that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think though he's like 50 something, right? Or 6, is he just turned 6?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how old he is, but yeah, he still looks good for his age.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but that's got to wear on him. Just like just like Hugh Jackman and those guys, you just gotta probably gets old for them. But
you can't maintain that level of physicality when you get in your 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
He's
it just takes its toll on you. He's 58.
Okay.
Yep.
He's a youngster.
Yeah, well, look at the guy. I would think he's younger than me, but
yeah,
he's not. He's in definitely better shape than I am.
He's younger than me.
Born September 2nd, 1964.
Wow.
He's 6 years older than I am. Did not expect that.
Yeah, he's because like you'll see like Liam Neeson in his later Taken movies. He can't run. His probably messed up, and so they have to cut away. Everything's a cutaway. Not with John Wick though. I mean, you see him do. So
the one thing I was impressed about the John Wick movies, and it's something that stuck in my head because I do this as a writer. I look like an accountant when I'm writing a combat scene because I'll have pieces of paper and notebooks stacked around me. You can count the rounds. He's changing magazines when those would go, when the magazine should be going empty. Whereas you got these other movies like, remember the old Beverly Hills Cop where he fired like 60 rounds out of a Beretta and never changed the magazine? I do that. I will have a character's name and each gun they're carrying, and every time I fire a round, I'll put a tick mark next to their name and next to that weapon. So I know when the magazine runs empty when to make this character change magazines. It's just one of those details that really impressed me because you don't see that in a lot of movies.
Yeah, no, you're right, because they're usually endless, endless ammo supply, the magic magazines,
Like the old Stallone where he's got the M60 with one hand, and he just keeps shooting for 4 scenes. Several camera cuts, ammo piling up, pieces piling up, and the barrel never gets red hot and starts drooping. That's the best part.
No, he's a killing machine. And
if you cut loose with an M60 for that long, that barrel's going to melt.
Oh yeah, definitely. Though, did you see the Rambo one where he was in Rescuing the Missionaries?
Mm-hmm.
I love that one.
That one's pretty good. That one was, when it came to the kill count and how he did it, that one was a lot better than the early ones. So except for First Blood. First Blood was really good, but then First Blood Part 2 got a little hokey.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, the first one's the best, I think. This last one he did, it was a little slow, but I thought it was good. It was pretty bloody. He did some good murders in that one.
Oh yeah, when he gets on that big 20 millimeter or whatever it is, and pretty much annihilates the entire Persian army.
Anti-aircraft. I think it's an anti-aircraft gun.
army. Yeah. That was
Hey.
that
Big
was pretty
Vic
cool.
443 Big Vic said, don't forget Steven Seagal, whose he was so fat in his last movie. All of his fight scenes were filmed with him sitting in a chair. They just shot it at an upper angle.
He is
If you want, listen, I'm going to promote another YouTube channel on this channel. But if you want to see a show that makes fun of Steven Seagal, go to So Bad It's Good, Jason Brandt, and watch how they make fun of all the Steven Seagal movies. You will laugh your tail off. You're welcome. You can thank me later.
Have you
Someone
seen that?
posted this. Was it you that posted the clip in the group, or the one of him dancing with the
Yeah.
like doing march?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was dying when I watched that clip.
I hadn't
Well,
seen
my
it.
wife is like, you got to watch this, and she showed me that video of him dancing, and I go, man, I can't get that out of my head. I got to share that, man, because that him dancing is just so. When he first came on the scene, it was like, wow, man, this guy's cool. And then the more I learned about his martial arts and stuff, it was like, okay, because my son's real big into jiu-jitsu. He's pretty good, but
He thinks he's better than he is. Trust me.
oh yeah, and it really doubt a lot of his skill, man. The more you see on things about him and stuff, you're like, this dude's just, a fraud.
Anybody that can sit there with a straight face and call people like Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee not some of the greatest martial artists of our time, but yet call himself one of the greatest. I mean, Chuck Norris has forgot more about martial arts than Steven Seagal ever learned.
Oh yeah, that guy, he's so shady. The way he makes his movies, he doesn't pay the people. It's his payroll company that finances the movie, and a lot of people don't get paid. I mean, it's
Wow.
That's why most of his movies are filmed in like what is it? Not Czechoslovakia, or it might be Czechoslovakia, but there somewhere over there might be that he's got like most of the local government in his back pocket, so all the money that he claims has to be spent for this, that, and all that stuff, they're not charging him for, so he's pocketing all that money, and then he's like, well, so we had to pay more for this license and this shit, he's a POS. He is a
pretty
POS.
shady.
yeah.
Say quick happy birthday to Papa Bear, who's in the chat, who's one of our big longtime viewers. Forgot today was his birthday. I saw it on Facebook earlier, and I just wanted to say a quick happy birthday, man. So
Happy
if you
birthday.
can hear us, happy birthday.
Hope there's a Goldilocks somewhere. Yeah, his first few movies were, he probably has about 6 movies I think that were good, but those were 80s and mid 90s movies, But
Yeah, I mean,
Well, we'll be happy too, Big Vic. Happy birthday, Adela.
happy birthday.
Mother.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Adela.
birthday.
Yeah, since this is a movie show that we're talking about, those
Northwoods is on the scoreboard. It's not a show until we've got a couple of my ex jokes from Northwood.
Northwood strikes again.
he must not be feeling good tonight.
He's shut us all down
54
cracking up a few times.
He's 54 minutes in today, so he must not be feeling good. Saturday he was in with like 10 minutes in. Da he'd already.
Oh yeah.
No, what do you that long?
He dropped one. We weren't even on the air yet. It was in the chat.
That's right.
That's funny.
That's Derek Buckles says Humana sent a hippo. Ugh. I was thinking more dependopotamus.
Well, so
Doc, you all right?
Yeah, I'm just resting my back, man. My low back's hurting.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
So I gotta ask. I'm sure you ask this all the time, Alan. But your books, The Dead Island, is that any correlation with the game?
No. I originally had a different name for it. It was called Deaders. because that's what some of the slang the characters use for the zombies. And that right before I got that book out, another guy wrote a book called Deaders, a zombie book. And this is back in 2014. And it was like, crap, right before I was going to release mine, you know? So then I was trying to think of a name, and W.J. Lundy's gave me some ideas, you know, and so I was like, okay, I'll do Operation Zulu Dead Island. And it does get confused. People will ask me that, and I'm like, no. And the nice thing is, a lot of times people go, oh, good. Oh, good. It's not tied. Oh, good, you know. And I'm like, oh, cool, you know. And then sometimes they're like, you know. But yeah, no, I should have thought of a different title for him. But
Another super chat from General Dalton. He says, DA, if Alan wants to play in the sandbox, there's plenty of Wild Hunt teams to choose from. He's actually reading the Western now, and Alan and I have discussed him taking the California teams.
what's got to be California, man?
What? You're the West. You live out that direction, man. You can't have the Midwest teams. Those are mine.
Well, I live in Nevada now, man. So
Okay.
I like Nevada's, you know, we moved to Nevada about almost 6 years ago. And I tell you what, you feel so much freer, even though it's a kind of a purple state. You know, the gun laws here and stuff are so much better than California. You know, it tripped me out going into a black rifle. They got a gun shop here, like about 4 miles from my house, and go in there, and I picked up a Beretta, walked out the same day. You know, that amazed me, because in California, you ain't got that wait period. And
you don't have that here in Missouri either.
I
mean, you could walk in and pretty much walk out with it. In fact, when I bought my Kel-Tec KSG, I went in and I was looking to buy a backup pistol as a backup duty weapon. And I went into a pawn shop here in town called Loftus Pawn. And this was back when you couldn't find the KSGs. I mean, if you found one, it was $1,200 to $1,500 secondhand. Somebody was letting one go. Kel-Tec couldn't put them out fast enough for people to get them. Well, I go in to look for a backup pistol, and I just happen to look over on the counter, and I see this KSG laying back there. And it's in great shape. It looks practically brand new. And I looked over at it. I'm like, my God, is that what I think it is? So I asked the guy behind the counter, I'm like, is that a Kel-Tec KSG? He's like, I don't know. We just got it in. And I said, well, can I take a look at it? He goes, well, sure. And he hands it to me, and I'm looking at it, and yeah, absolutely, that's what it is. And I'm like checking it. The action's smooth. It doesn't even smell like it's been fired. I mean, it's in perfect shape. And I said, how much you want for this? He goes, like I said, man, we haven't cleaned it. We haven't done anything to it. We literally just got it in. We bought a collection from a guy. Let me go ask the owner. And he goes in the back, and he's gone about 2 minutes, and he comes back out, and he goes, he said, if you'd give $600 for it, we'll take it. I'm like, start the paperwork.
yeah.
I didn't buy a backup pistol that day.
Well, that's awesome. But it just surprised me, you know, because I'm a native Californian, and I've never been able to buy a gun the same day, you know, and that just friggin' tripped me out, you know. And you want a bigger magazine capacity? Yes, I do. Please.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, yes, supersize that capacity.
Yeah. And can it get some fries with that? Sure, man. You know, so it's cool, and it's a little freeing. I was living in a small town too, and you know, nothing against law enforcement, but you could get speeding tickets all the time because there was, you know, the population to law enforcement size. You know, you had a lot of officers that had nothing to do really all day because of the crime. You know, there wasn't the crime, small town, whatever. So big on moving violations there. Here, you don't see an officer, you know, maybe 3 days, then you'll finally see one, you know, because they've got gun crimes, because they've got gangs, they've got we live out in the suburbs, but you know, near the casinos and stuff, there's always shootings or stabbings, or it's crazy. We live in a pretty nice area, but they've got a lot of Nevada's different, man. I love Nevada though. I do love Nevada, man. I never thought I would, but
Nevada or Utah, where Larry Correa is at?
I think it's Utah.
Yeah, I think he bought a mountain, basically.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it, man. I mean, the dude is just like, you know what? Screw the rest of the world. I will see you coming from every direction.
There you go, man.
He's a good writer. I really like Larry's books.
No, he's good. I like Larry. I think Joe and I are trying to get him sometime interviewing on our show too.
That'd be
We need
cool.
to get you on there too, Da.
Hey,
Really,
man, shoot me some times, man. We'll work it out.
I will.
Be happy to do it.
Joe asks different questions than I do, so he's always good at that, getting into your mind a little bit.
Heck yeah, I'm down. As Carrie would say, I'm down like 4 flat tires.
Yeah.
Like a fat kid.
So what? Yeah, fat kid on a seesaw. So what book project are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm working on Falling Darkness. It is a sci-fi horror story. Takes place in there's a civil war in space. It's over now, and so you have both sides: the free peoples and the I forgot the other side. There's basically you've got your rebels, and then you got your empire type people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not Star Wars-ish. It's more modern, more like like Alien type of universe, that kind of and they find something on a ship, and then there's a like a black ops group that's called Central Intelligence Network, and it's CIN, but the characters in the story pronounce it SIN because they're such bastards, and they're trying to retrieve this thing on a ship along with this rescue crew. And yeah, it's typical what I write, just a bunch of characters. Some are pretty out there and some are pretty straight-laced, and you'll find the usual. If you follow my books, you'll find the usual type of characters, So it's kind of a horror. It's a little different for me though, because of what the element is on it. And then I'm going to finish up that last Dead Island book.
Awesome.
I'm about 30,000 words into that one, and I've had to scrap some of it because it's the last book, and I kind of want to make it. I want to make it good. I want to make it.
Absolutely.
It's the swan song for that series, and
so you really are wrapping it up. You're not going to do any more.
Oh, I may. Never say never. John Connery.
He sounds familiar, don't he, Doc?
We'll see, man. We'll see. I mean, I've killed off the main character in the first book, so.
Well, that's how you always have an heir to the title hanging on in the background.
Exactly.
That's why I like to have so many characters. If I kill one off, I just move one up.
See, that's what I like too. I like the big cast. I like these books that have a big cast of characters, and then, you can whittle through them if you like.
Yeah.
That's
of course, you're going to have your favorite characters that have plot armor that will get torn up pretty bad, but they never really die. But then you've got other characters that are like, I'm going to kill this guy in a really, really gruesome way.
Well, yeah. It like I said, I killed off my main character in the first book, and it worked. You know what I mean? It worked for the story because it was going to be a standalone. So then I had to write the rest of the stories as a prequel. So this last book's going to butt up to when they're getting on the plane to go to Eller Island to take care of that mission in the first book. So that's how it's going to end. But you have like a 10-year gap, between what's going on in the stories now and then the ending. So it'll work. It's just I'm trying to get it where people like enjoy it, and get some tears going, So.
Papa Bear wants to know, have you designed your own zombie compound?
I have not. I have not. I'm a lazy prepper. I know what I should do. I know what I have, but I have not. I've thought about it. But no.
I think we've all put thought into that one. I've got a lazy prepper story for you, and this is the ultimate lazy prepper. You remember back when we survived the Y2K apocalypse?
Yes.
How the world was going to end at 1999, December 31st. Well, there were a lot of people that were absolutely freaking out about that. And where we lived over behind Bass Pro Shops here in town at the time. And my next door neighbor was absolutely flipped out. He was like, the world is going to come to an end. Banks are going to crash. There's going to be rioting in streets. And he would bring like carload after carload of canned goods and bottled water and stacking them in his basement. And I'm like, dude, calm down. You don't need to, have a warehouse down there. You're going to be fine. He's like, no. Stroke of midnight, you watch. The world's going to burn. And I'm going to be prepared. And I said, really? Are you stocking up guns and ammo? He's like, oh, I don't believe in firearms. I said, well, that's kind of a mistake. He's like, well, I don't see you stocking up cans or anything. I'm like, no, I've got guns. And when, if something does happen, I'm just going to come take all your stuff. And he's like, you can't do that. I'm like, yeah, I got guns.
Well, I just asked you if you had any. You
That's how that
told
works.
me you didn't.
The golden rule of history. Those with the guns make the rules.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's
You need to talk to me for like 6 months after that.
He's what we call an organic resupply point.
I know a guy. Yeah, that's
Like, we need water and food. Well, I happen to know where there's a pantry, like right next door.
it's a help yourself.
Exactly.
No, I remember that hysteria. That was something.
I can't believe people were really freaking out about that. I mean, I had this old, to tell you how old this computer was, I had this old Tandy 1000 with a 20 meg hard drive in it, like a 16 color RGA monitor. I mean, this was an old piece of crap computer that had been in my closet for a while. And when everybody started freaking out, I dug that piece of crap out. You had to boot it off like a 5.5 floppy, and a 5.25. It's not like it was Windows capable. It was a piece of crap, absolute dinosaur. So I put this thing up, hook it up on my dining room table. I get everything all plugged in, and I fire it up and boot it up from I think it was a MS DOS 6.0, 5.25 floppy, and it boots up. And I changed the date to December 31st. 1999 at like 2 minutes to midnight, and I just sat back and I watched, and I'm thinking, if the smoke pours out of this thing, there may be something to this. And it chugged along, and then it clicked over, and it just kept right on going. I'm like, if this whole piece of shit can handle it, then the world's computers are going to be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how that. I wonder, how did that hysteria all start? I mean,
I have no idea. I mean,
it started because they were looking at the calendars, the Mayan calendar, and I believe the Incan calendar.
No, the Mayan calendar ended in 2012. That was I've survived like 10 end of the worlds at this point.
That's why I can't remember but they were looking at one of those calendars, and one of those calendars did not go past 1999, and that's where everybody, oh God, the world's going to end because the calendar doesn't go that.
Well, we survived.
Yeah.
And
it did,
like you said, so many ends of the world at this point. It's just like
same thing in 2012. It don't go past. It don't go past 2012. Here we are.
I think we'll be surprised if we're around
15-ish years later. Yeah, it's still.
Yep.
Still,
we're so used to people saying it's going to be the end of the world. One of these days they're going to predict it, and we're going to be like, nah, nothing's going to happen, and it will.
Yeah, speaking of the end of the world, I just watched that movie Knock at the Cabin. Weekend at Dave Bautista's house, something like that. That M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Was it good?
It had its agenda, definitely, but it was it kept me watching, I didn't think it was boring. I'm glad I didn't pay to go see it. I wouldn't watch it again.
I probably won't bother. But speaking of Dave Bautista movies, what was that zombie? Was it Army of the Dead or something like that?
Army of the Dead, where he's at in Nevada. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I wanted it to be good, because Zack Snyder did the Dawn of the Dead remake, right? James Gunn, and this one wasn't that good. There was too many plot holes, too many. You're yelling at the TV, going, "Come on, don't waste your time." We got to talk it out right in the middle of all this stuff. No, just get out of there.
Argue about that crap later.
Yeah, get out of there. Or just I don't know. It was I've seen it a couple times, and just because there's zombies.
Yeah. I thought it had some original ideas.
It did.
I thought like the zombie tiger was neat,
Yeah.
and the hierarchy, the way the Maslow's hierarchy of zombies was pretty cool, but the decisions the characters were making were like, wow, you guys are really morons. How is any of you supposed to be high end operators?
Yeah, exactly. And it had a lot of great shots in it. A lot of, the cinematography in it had some cool things. Like when they dropped that cargo container on that lady that was getting eaten by the zombies at the beginning, that was a cool shot, but it just, it was okay. It was an okay movie. I was kind of disappointed because when they have a big budget zombie movies, I always like it to be good. Like World War Z, it was okay.
Yeah. Did you hear what Max Brooks said about the movie World War Z?
No.
When they interviewed when they first made that movie, they gave him an advanced screening, and after he watched the movie World War Z, they interviewed him. They said, "What'd you think?" He goes, "Well, they used my title."
There's so many good chapters in that book they could have used.
Yeah, that would have, if they'd have followed the book even at all, it would have been a freaking amazing movie. It would have been this in-depth chronicle of the zombie war, but no, it and the whole zombies swarming like ants. I was like, come on.
Yeah, I was happy it was made because it's a big budget movie, and anytime you get a big budget zombie movie out there, and it did make money, but they've been hound dogging making a sequel. They've talked about it and everything, and that's kind of exciting, but I don't know if it's ever going to happen. What you guys? I was going to say, Robbie, Doc, what you guys think of World War Z?
It didn't impress me as far as zombie movies go. I like Brad Pitt in some things, and some things I don't like him in. He's a great actor. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
I'm not. It didn't follow the book. It was just it was just a standard run of the mill zombie movie. There was nothing that really made it stand out from the source material that it came from. It should have been the only zombie movie that anybody was talking about since Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah,
right.
But I think they totally dropped the ball on it, and it's just a standard zombie movie. It's that formula, copy and paste. Put people in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, have them have a impossible task. It was no different than what The Walking Dead was, in my opinion. It's just.
And I thought the whole thing about them smelling the disease was weak. I just thought that was a cop out. They might have had that person might have had a disease, but they would have still killed them.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I might take some flack for this. I think Warm Bodies was a better zombie movie than World War Z.
I refuse to watch Warm Bodies.
I didn't say it was a good movie. I just said I think that was a better zombie movie than.
It had stuff in it, good stuff in it. I wouldn't see it again, but yeah, I get that.
Well, I've only seen World War Z one time. I have no reason to watch it again.
I watched it once. I don't really care to watch it again.
It's not a movie that I'm like, oh my god, I got to watch that again. It's.
What about you,
Alan?
I didn't like it. Honestly, my favorite zombie movie is Zombieland.
That's.
Just for entertainment purposes, because if there ever was a zombie apocalypse, I hope to hell those zombies don't move like they did in freaking World War Z. And Eric Testerman said Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
also,
I gotta agree. That's my favorite zombie flick.
That's a great one.
Yep.
I like the scene in the backyard where they're going through the records. Dire Straits, ooh, no. Batman soundtrack, throw it.
Yeah.
Any of the Simon Pegg, Nick Frost movies, man, can't go wrong with them.
I like Shaun of the Dead too, but I'm with Doc. Zombieland was my favorite.
Did you guys like?
I think the sequel was worth the crap, though.
It's still
there
better
some,
than
really are.
There was some. True. There were some funny parts in the sequel, but
yeah,
that sequel suffered from the same problems that the Super Troopers sequel suffered from. The original Super Troopers was lightning in a bottle, and they tried so hard to make it the same, and it's not the same thing with Zombieland. It was that first one was so good and so entertaining, and it was such a different take on a zombie movie. That's probably the first really true comedy zombie movie that was ever. I mean, because like DA said, we ain't gonna count Warm Bodies.
Yeah,
but
my son chimed in on it. That cracks me up. All right, Noah. Yeah, we know you don't care for the fast ones.
Well, like the Dawn of the Dead remake, man, they were so. When that armless zombie runs up to the loading dock, they're trying to get that loading dock door shut, and that armless one just makes a beeline for that door. Man, I was like, holy shit! I'd be dead. That thing would outrun, be on my back.
The first time I saw that, I was like sitting on the couch with my wife, and when they took off, I'm like, they're not supposed to be fast.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
That's the whole thing. It's a reanimated corpse. It's already decaying. Doc, from a medical standpoint, would a corpse is decaying like that? Would it be able, even if it was reanimated? Obviously, this is fake movie kind of stuff like that, but with that amount of decomposition,
maybe a fresh one could move fast, but you'd think as it decomposes, muscle fibers, everything else, it's gonna end up moving slower and slower and slower.
Yeah, and that I've got to having them in stages like that, like some writer might have coined or had happen in a series of novels that we might know anything about, Doc. Yeah, stages like the fresh ones, yeah, but every one of them just being Usain Bolt.
Would a corpse go remove? I really need to know.
I've seen one set up.
I have to. Yeah.
That's kind of terrifying.
That's where the term "sitting up with the dead" came from.
I've seen one take a deep breath, and yeah, I was gone. Yep, out of here. No, they got some good. I mean, the one I can't remember who it was. Just said the 28 days later and 28 weeks later, those were actually pretty well done.
Yeah. But those weren't technically zombies, but they were zombies.
Right.
But they were still kind of alive though.
Yeah.
They were rage zombies.
I actually like the sequel better than the first.
I think I did too, Alan. I think I did too. Yeah.
The first one was good, but the sequel, I agree. I think it was better.
Which one we're talking about?
28 Days Later.
Yeah, the second one was better.
Yeah.
That was what, 28 weeks later, I think is what they called it.
Yeah.
That's the one.
If I see one of those fast zombies, I'm with Steve Payton on that one, man. I'm gonna hope I got my brown pants on that day. That is faux show.
Yeah, no, I like DA. I write mine decaying. I've got some fast ones, and then as the older the bodies get, they're slower. Because to me that makes sense. I mean, it's probably not realistic, but then you're writing zombies reanimate. How realistic is that?
Yeah. That's why it's called fiction.
Because you get people that are, no, they can't. But you're writing fiction, and it's fantasy and horror, so you can make anything you want.
Right, exactly.
You do what you want to with it.
Yeah,
that's why I never really said, what the original source was. I'm still leaving that for another story.
Right. That's cool because you can, mine. It was a bad crocodile in a German World War II experiment mixed together. That's what might cause my outbreak.
Patty wanted to know if any of us like The Walking Dead.
I think
not past the second season.
See, I'd go about three or four seasons in.
I stopped after the second season because it kind of turned into Days of Our Lives with zombies.
Yeah.
I mean, they went from having everybody on Sunday watching the show, watch parties, everything. People just crazy to. I didn't even watch the last season of it.
I haven't watched anything past season 2. I was done.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to see how it ended, but I'm just not that. You know.
Honestly, after the way they ended it season 1, I was like, yeah, I can't wait to come back and watch this. And like 2 or 3 episodes into season 2, I'm like, this ain't going the way it needs to be going, the way season 1 ended. But I'm gonna finish watching this season. By the time season 2 ended, I was just like, I don't give a
what he said. That one guy, they milked that series for
they
every
did.
Yeah,
they did.
And you guys are all
You know-
gun, and I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Crazy. I'm sure the way
There were scenes in that I was screaming at the television. This was in the first season. He's walking around with a freaking python, and when they were going to the CDC, he's literally stepping over M4s laying on the ground. I'm like, pick that!
dude. I know, battlefield pickup, bro. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah, but I
What
did
are you
meet,
doing?
Battlefield acquisitions.
I did meet Rosita at Denver Comic Con. She smelled good.
We met the little girl that played the zombie in the opening scene where she shuffles up and he shoots her. We met her at a convention.
See, I mean that in your opening episode, guy shooting a little zombie girl. That's like, whoa.
Yeah, that would be plays on your heartstrings.
Uncharted territory. And then they just crap, I fumbled.
I mean, they had such a rabid fan base. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. They made lots of money.
I think when they really screwed the pooch was one, they killed Carl, but before that, I mean, they killed Glenn and Abraham on the same show.
Yeah.
And I will say this, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he did a damn good job in his character. He really did. But yeah, man, I think when they lost him was they lost a big fan base when they killed 2 big characters, especially one that had been there since the beginning. And I understand why he got killed off. He didn't want to be typecast, so
yeah.
But
my wife stopped watching it when they killed Glenn. She's like, oh, okay, I'm not watching anymore.
mm-hmm.
She read the comics.
Yeah,
She
I didn't even make it that far.
knew it was coming, but
Well,
yeah,
they only paid a certain amount of attention to the comics, so I didn't know really who was safe and who wasn't.
Yeah.
But I knew they weren't going to do what happened to Lord Grimes and the baby for real in the comic. Yeah, they weren't going to show that on screen.
no, that was that would have people would have freaked about that, man. Yeah, the graphic novel was really
Graphic novels were good.
It was graphic.
Yeah, emphasis on the graphic.
Yeah, emphasis on the show.
Yeah. They almost repeated that scene with Glenn. I mean, that was almost a dead-on repeat. I don't remember if his eye popped out, but there's people that say his eye did pop out, and when they went back and reruns and stuff, they'd taken that part, they'd edited that part out. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't remember.
I didn't watch it, so I couldn't say.
Yeah, but yeah,
I'll take your word for it, though.
The show people loved and stuff, and they just tanked it, and continued.
Yeah.
It continued to go down and down and down and down. And now they've got spin-offs. I don't know how good those will do.
Well, I never liked Fear the Walking Dead. I just didn't like any of the characters.
I didn't either.
The characters they introduced, I'm like, I hope every one of these assholes gets eaten.
Yeah, I watched it like part of the first season, a few episodes, and I was like, it just didn't catch, man. I was like, no.
I watched like 2 episodes. I'm like, these people all suck.
Yeah,
I don't want them to survive.
Same.
Well, they made the family unlikable. Really.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But see, and that's what ticks me off is, these things that start out good like that, and they screw them up. But then they got a series like Werewolf back in the 80s that had the potential to be that was groundbreaking. There was no other series on at that time like that. I remember watching that as a kid, watching that 1 hour pilot, which is basically like a TV movie. And I remember that scared the living out of me. And that had so much potential. And they just whatever, and just let it go and didn't do anything with it. And now they're sitting on it, won't release the rights, will let it be redone where it could be, And John J. York has said so many times, I've listened to so many interviews. He's like, we had lightning in a bottle right then, and it was just like nobody cared. You know, it was just, and they just the way that ended, where he's in the little hole down in the bottom of the theater stage, and the lady that he thought was his friend lets him out, and she's like, "Oh, it didn't end with Scorsese," and slams, and he starts screaming the name of the guy who was. I don't want to spoil it if anybody wants to watch the show, hadn't seen the show, but and then that was it. It's over. Last episode. Never got any kind of closure on the series whatsoever.
See that?
It's too bad because it was a good series.
Yeah, it was. I've got it on DVD. Shh. Not supposed to have that on there, but I got it on.
There's a lot of series like that. You know, like the UK, they'll kill off characters in their shows. They don't care. And they'll run it. There'll be 6 episodes, you know, and that's the whole series. You know, here we like to milk them till they suck, you know, a lot of times.
Yeah, to the point where you just don't care anymore.
Yeah, you're like, you know, I'll probably be vilified for this, but Supernatural went on too long, in my opinion.
I agree.
You know, yeah. So, you know, I don't know. And then you have, like you were talking about, Werewolf, and there's Firefly series like that. They just cut them. You know, they're great, but they just throw them away.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking about Firefly, Alan. I loved that, and like, man. So,
yeah, it's and they're talking about rebooting it and stuff, bringing it back, but it's gonna be like you said, Robbie, lightning in a bottle. I don't know if it would be what you want, what fans want. You know, I don't know. I'd love to see it though.
Yeah,
you know, I would definitely.
Tombstone says Supernatural should have ended a lot earlier.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. You know, the thing about Supernatural is my wife and I, in fact, we just finished watching the entire series yesterday for like the 5th time. We love the series, but to me, the series started losing something when they stopped hunting monsters and they got angels and demons and God and everybody involved. If it would have just been them hunting monsters, I was 100% on board with that.
Those were the best episodes. Were the week, you know, when they got into the mythology and kept getting into the mythology, it was like.
My only thing is, I wish they'd had the budget to do werewolves as werewolves.
Yeah.
You know, they all they really were was just people with claws and teeth.
Yeah. Man.
Well, that's what I like so much about the series Werewolf. It wasn't your typical run of the mill what you saw back then, like Michael J. Fox's Teen Wolf. It was a full blown, you know, most of the time walked on 4 legs, tear you apart werewolf that you just had not seen on TV at that time.
Yeah, I mean, a good werewolf suit makes or breaks a werewolf movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I think they had Rick Baker work on that originally.
See, Rick Baker does a lot of.
Yeah.
Well, who did the effects for American Werewolf in London?
Rick Baker started, and then they got he started on The Howling and then went to American Werewolf in London.
I'm gonna tell you, man, that American Werewolf in London werewolf scared the flitter out of me when I was a kid watching that.
You think about Rick Baker had influence, or he was the one that finished that, and now think about the werewolf from the TV show Werewolf, and you'll see the similarities on how they moved. Now the obviously the facial features are a little bit different, but you can see his and he actually he won the Oscar for his work on American Werewolf in London. Then
American Werewolf was such a great movie.
Fast forward to the Wolfman with Benicio del Toro, and Rick Baker is working on that again. He wins the same Oscar again, that many years apart, for 2 werewolf movies.
Yeah,
they look so freaking awesome. They weren't just CGI. They were really good effects.
That was some well done effects for that werewolf with Benicio del Toro.
I watched a werewolf movie last night called Viking Ulven. It's set in Scandinavia. Yeah,
yes,
we watched
that. Is a good movie.
My wife and I watched it last night. It was pretty good. The creature effect was all CGI, so you got a 4K TV. It looks a little big, but plot wise,
I was about to say the story and the movie. that the old guy that comes in and kind of get
He died stupid.
plot
I mean,
device.
the guy spent the entire movie making silver bullets and then dies because he tries to run one over with his RV.
Yeah, right. There's everybody over, knocks all the heroes over, knocks
But-
them out.
But there again, the way that ended it kind of left you wondering. Okay, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she put that bullet up there, so did she shoot the girl or not?
I'm seeing two other comments in here. One, Papa Bear said silver bullet, and the other comment was right above that.
That's my favorite
Dog
werewolf
Soldiers,
movie.
both great
And that's
movies.
my second favorite werewolf movie.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
David By says, DA, what was that movie? It's called Viking Ulven. It's basically Viking Wolf. It's on Netflix. VIKINGULVEN, Viking Ulven. It was originally filmed. I believe, I want to say it was Sweden, maybe. I don't remember exactly where it was, but it's a small town, so you can tell they've been redubbed. Obviously, you're hearing them in English, but you can see their lips not speaking English. But once you get past that, it's really a pretty good movie.
So I watched the cut that was in the actual cut where it was just subtitles and they were actually speaking. So I had to follow along with the subtitles.
Yeah, surprisingly, you'll find a real gem once in a while that comes out of obscure Scandinavian country that you don't normally think of when it comes to movies. There was that one that was made about Jormungandr. I can't remember the name of the movie. Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
Yeah, really good movie.
Yep.
Yeah. Ragnarok. They had that troll movie that came out.
Yeah.
That
Troll Hunter.
Two. They have Troll Hunter and Troll.
Troll Hunter was good. Troll
was better than Troll. Troll Hunter was kind of a tongue-in-cheek type thing. It's one of them. They kind of passed it off as a found footage thing, but it was obviously it was not. There's no found footage movies that are real, but that's what they passed it off being.
What?
And then Troll
wasn't real? Oh man.
Yeah. But Troll was actually a movie. It was made, it was like from a perspective of that you'd watch it as a movie, but Troll Hunter wasn't. It was made like those three students were making the documentary on this guy who worked for the Scandinavian government and as a troll hunter. It's still not a bad movie though. It's just it wasn't as good as the newer one.
The newer one was a lot more fun, like a Godzilla movie. It's more like a Godzilla.
Yeah.
Their version.
Well, it got into a lot of the stuff that we had talked about before. Like the trolls looking like they were made out of the mountain.
Oh yeah.
That scene where they were standing there talking, and it's kind of got its head laid down and opens its eyes, and that perspective when you're looking behind, you can see its eyes open, but they can't. And you're like, oh crap.
Yeah, that was
might
neat.
want to run.
Something like that. Have you seen Snow Hollow?
Seen what?
The Wolf of Snow Hollow.
I have not.
I've seen that. That is good. That's the one where the guy at the end, it's the guy at the end. Yes, that is a cool movie.
Oh,
I like
yes,
that.
I have. Where it turns out, it's not even not really a wolf.
But he's dressing up like a werewolf. He's made himself a werewolf suit.
It's got a good werewolf suit in it. It actually does.
And really, honestly,
really
until the end, you can't tell that it's not because the way he acts, the way he and it shows it kind of like it's got superhuman strength and all this stuff, and so you really don't know to the end that it's a guy. And he really, he kind of whipped that guy's butt till it was.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Howl, the one that's the British movie? It's set on the train.
Well, that's Spears and
that's a good one.
Yeah,
Sean Pertwee's in it. Who was in Dog Soldiers?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He doesn't have very much luck with werewolves. I don't think.
Yeah.
No, he needs to stay away from them.
But the premise on that was probably one of the most realistic type werewolf movies you could ever think, because it never really said anything that they're more like Dogmen basically, because it never really made mention that these were werewolves. It was just more like these were like animals that were just like bloodthirsty, and it was an interesting. There's actually a good video on that on YouTube. It's Howl, the lycanthropic virus or something like that, I think was the name of it. it goes in depth talking about little things that the movie kind of hints at, doesn't really say, but it's pretty interesting to think about. It more like the was it the Underworld series where they talked about lycanthropy being a virus more than it is a curse that is supernatural. It's just a virus that's passed on.
Well,
They kind of hit it.
Robbie, have you seen that
was
one? It's WER. It's called Were.
Yes, with the guy, the big guy in the
Yeah.
medical thing at the end, or at the first of it,
Yeah.
and they're examining him, and all of a sudden he just goes nuts. And yeah, that's now, when that movie gets towards the end, that is a creepy movie. When they go out to his house.
Yeah. Yeah. That is. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
in these.
the werewolves in all the Underworld movies were actually really well done too, as far as effects.
Yeah, the effects were pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big black guy Kevin Griveau, or how you pronounce his last name.
The real
He's
deep
actually
dude.
the real deep boy. Almost sounds like Michael Clark Duncan almost.
Mhm.
He's actually one of the producers of that.
Oh, okay, that's
and
cool.
So he had a lot, because I watched the interview where he talked about that. And he talked about they didn't want it to be, they wanted the vampires to be more of the supernatural, and this was before it went off into the other movies. But this is just the very first movie. They wanted the vampires to be more of a supernatural type, and the werewolves to be more of a grounded in reality. It was just a virus that was passed on, and they've just kind of been fighting amongst themselves for all these years. And so, but of course it spiraled way out of that from
Yeah.
the next
You guys seen Brotherhood of the Wolf?
Yes.
No.
Martin Dacascos, and I can't remember
That's
the
a
other
good
guy's
movie.
name. Yep.
And that's actually based off the French, the Beast of Gévaudan, Gavaudan, or I don't remember. I don't speak French, but the Beast of Gévaudan.
Gévaudan.
It's off the Gévaudan. It's based on that legend. It's a really creepy movie. Eric Testerman wanted to know if we know about the Federal Zombie Task Force. That's a new one on me. I knew the CDC put out a whole bunch of stuff on prepping for the zombie apocalypse.
I got the posters up in my cave.
If anybody wants to know, that Toom just sent me the link. It's called How Lycanthropy Explored. That's what goes into their. It's pretty good, pretty
Might have to
interesting.
watch
If you
that.
like that, yeah. But Alan, I think I'm about werewolves like you are about zombies.
I love werewolf flicks.
That's my bread and butter.
I love
I'm like
werewolves.
that. I'm like that with vampires, like y'all are with that kind of stuff. So I like vampires.
Alan, what did you think of the old Kolchak the Night Stalker werewolf story? Where he's on that cruise ship?
Oh yeah. I love the Night Stalker. I
did too.
catch it. It's on is it on MeTV now or something like that?
I
It's
think
on-
so. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love the that was a good episode, because when you're a kid, I was a kid, and it's like, oh man, I love the headless motorcycle guy. I love that one.
Mm. My favorite was the Spanish Moss Murders, the Permafe episode.
Oh,
that was my favorite. I always liked that one the most. But I loved that series. Kolchak the Night Stalker was one of my early inspirations.
Oh yeah, no, the movie was the best though. The whole Night Stalker movie.
Mhm.
I mean, that was creepy.
Those were just really well done. It's too bad, and that's another one that it's too bad they didn't do more than one season.
Yeah, and
Because it ended on a cliffhanger. It was supposed to be the next part. The season 2, episode 1 was supposed to be the second part of that, and we never got it.
I
I
think
got to take the old man out to poop. I think he just almost did in here. Bio warfare.
Yes.
I think Darren McGavin hated that show though.
Yeah,
I think
I remember that he didn't want to do it.
yeah,
Which is too bad because he was so perfect.
yeah, he was. People try to copy him, and they can't, because he was great as Kolchak, man. He
Right.
really
When
dove
they
into-
tried to make that remake series,
Yeah.
I had high hopes, but it was just so bad.
It wasn't even monsters. It was really just weird.
Yeah.
The funniest thing for me about that show is that it's Ralphie's dad from
Yeah.
From Christmas Story. I can't watch Kolchak without hearing, "What's a major award?"
Yeah, he's remembered for two things, man: Christmas Story and Kolchak, the Night Stalker.
Right.
That's it.
But the dude was in a ton of stuff. I mean, he
Oh.
even later appeared in an episode of X-Files as a military general.
Did he really? Oh,
Yeah, he made a cameo.
But he
because
just
Tucker came from. I mean,
that was his two claims to fame, though. As far as that, I mean, he's like DA said, he's in a ton of stuff, but that's the only two things that people remember him from.
yeah, I remember seeing him in some World War II movie, black and white. But
he was in a lot of older stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But no, that was classic. That is. I don't think they could ever remake that. Like you said, with your lightning in a bottle. That was one.
Right. You just can't recover the magic. I mean, there's just some series that are just like that. You just cannot recover the magic. And they might make another Firefly. They might even try making another Night Stalker series, but I don't think you're ever going to get that original chemistry. I mean, like just the rapport between Carl and Tony Vincenzo, the banter back and forth between them. It was just so perfect.
Yeah. Well, they've got a new Justified series coming out.
It's a mini series. It's called what is it? City of something.
Something, yeah. City Primal or something.
City Primeval.
Yeah.
Well,
I definitely want to watch that. I love Timothy Olyphant in just about anything. Speaking of zombie films and Timothy Olyphant, The Crazies, even though it really wasn't a zombie film, freaking great zombie film.
That was a great movie.
But Olyphant is awesome in everything. I hear he's an asshole to work with, but
well, he had that zombie series. Beverly, Santa Anita Diet or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Santa
Clara Diet.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Santa.
I loved him in Deadwood.
Well, and they had that one iZombie.
Yeah.
I watched like half an episode of that and turned it off. There was another one, the Sci-Fi Channel one. I can't remember the name of it. The Sci-Fi put it out. It ran for several years.
Z
Zombie Nation. Z Nation.
Z-Nation.
I watched the pilot episode, and when they had that guy that was chained down to the table, and he was just a normal guy, and then suddenly he changed into a zombie, and he was dark gray with all these. I'm like, what the hell?
Well,
why would he be normal looking 1 second and suddenly have all these chunks out of his face?
Yeah, that series was crazy. I liked the first
stupid.
I watched like the first 3 seasons of it. Then it got even weirder than that. But
I couldn't get through the first episode. I was just nope.
They had some awesome deaths in it. They had a giant cheese wheel. I mean, huge, like a 20-foot cheese wheel that was rolling, and it pick up all these zombies, and it'd get bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, the series was insane. It was like palate cleanser to The Walking Dead, because The Walking Dead was so serious, And then you watch the episode, then you go watch Z Nation, and it's more comical, You didn't have all the.
But I'm a bit of a horror snob. I do like a little comedy in my horror, but I don't want it to be a horror comedy, if that makes sense.
No, I get that. You don't want it to be silly.
Right. I don't want it to be just goofy.
Well, did you watch Black Summer? When that series that came out, it had 2 seasons on Sci-Fi.
I think so.
Now that's a crazy.
It sounds familiar.
It wasn't really a comedy. It was really dark, actually.
Well, dark is fine. I don't mind dark. I get upset when they when they make something that should be scary when they make it cheesy.
Yeah.
And then I just it just loses me.
American Werewolf in London walked that line perfectly.
Oh yeah.
There was enough dark comedy, dark humor in that, that where it was just right to that line, but there was plenty of horror and
exactly.
Okay, David Bye brought up the exception to the rule. Bruce Campbell gets a pass. Bruce Campbell always gets a pass.
Yes. Yeah. Give me some sugar, baby.
Yeah.
I love that. Little Goody Two Shoes was hitting him in the face like, good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun. Boom!
This is my boomstick.
You primitive screwheads.
Yeah.
Okay, that one okay. But I went into that one knowing it was a comedy.
Yeah.
But it's, it's Bruce Campbell. I mean, come on now.
Well,
Yeah.
but think about it though. The first two were not I mean, there was a little bit of comedy in it, but Army of Darkness was just it totally spun around in the other direction from the first two.
Yeah.
It was just like a screwball, wacky.
Yeah.
This is what the land of the dead looks like.
Yeah. Now I'm curious to see what this new Evil Dead movie is going to look like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, I can't believe we ain't talked about Chud yet.
That was a great one. That was actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
You went in a way back machine on that one, Robbie.
Hell, you did pulled that one out of left field. For those of you who don't know what a CHUD is, it stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. It was about these mutant monsters that lived in the sewers of New York and would come out and eat people. Cheesy 80s flick, but it was good.
I love those movies though, man.
Low budget. I shouldn't really say cheesy. We'll say low budget horror.
Bud the Chud.
But
Alan,
it
you
got-
went
it got
completely quiet
somewhat
there.
of a-
Couldn't hear you.
It got somewhat of a cult following too, though.
Yeah.
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 Alan, I can't hear your audio at all now.
Damn it, Bobby. You done broke his microphone.
I think I lost you.
There it is. There we got
There it
you.
I don't know how. What happened here? Can you guys hear me?
Yep, got you now. Can you hear
guys
us?
me?
Damn satellites.
Delusion.
No, we can hear him. He can't hear us.
Ooh. See what I say, Doc? Damn satellites. It's
Ain't
the
got no
probe
gas
again.
in it.
Them aliens is probing us again.
There we go.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I can
know
hear
what-
you too, but no, there's the video. I'm like, but we ain't got no video.
Yeah, my phone went crazy. I don't know what happened there. But, so you were talking about Chud. How about Alligator? Alligator's another one that was a lot of
Alligator
fun.
was the one. That was.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Second one was
Yeah.
but the second one was just it was really a carbon copy of the first one, but they just went from New York to Miami.
Never
Yeah.
saw it.
First one.
Hey,
if you're gonna-
speaking of alligator movies, have you guys
Jason
seen the movie
Voorhees is in
Crawl?
Alligator 2, Doc. Come on. Jason freaking Voorhees is in Alligator 2, The Mutation.
Never seen
And
it.
the
I think I never saw the second one.
the greatest bad guy of all time plays a Cajun.
I mean, my wife has probably watched it. She's
Alan
watched
knows who I'm talking about.
every horror movie out there.
The Richard Lynch, the greatest bad guy of all time, plays a Cajun. Think about Richard Lynch, the bad guy from a couple of Chuck Norris movies, from Invasion USA, and
He was on Battlestar Galactica too.
yes, he was in the Barbarians. He's probably the greatest bad guy I've ever on film. But he played a Cajun, and that is the funniest thing in the world to me. Is Richard Lynch trying to do a Cajun accent?
Yeah.
Hey, that old boy down there gonna go get us now. You hear that? What? But Kane Hodder plays his brother, Jason freaking Voorhees.
That's crazy.
Have you guys seen Crawl?
Yes.
Yeah.
When it's set in like down Florida
Alligators
during
under the
hurricane?
house. Yes.
Oh yeah, that was great.
That was a well
awesome
done movie.
movie. Yes, it was, and that was more along the lines of a B movie too, as far as budget wise.
Yeah, it was nobody you ever heard of in it. There's another one that's set in Australia. I think it's called Rogue.
Yeah, that's a good.
That one was good.
Yeah, Toon
Yeah.
just said something
We've
about
talked
that.
about that one before.
Yeah, that's a good one. That
Rogue
Crawl,
was real good.
that just a little trivia. That Crawl, the actress
Mm-hmm.
in that, Lisa Marie Presley's daughter.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Riley
I
Keough.
think-
And Ben Foster. Ben Foster's been in a few movies. I think Ben Foster was
That's what I was about to say. He was in
310
Lone Survivor.
He was in he
Lone
was
Survivor.
also Lone Survivor. Yeah, he played Axe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I knew there was one person in it that was kind of a big name, but yeah, and what I said, Toombs brought up Hatchet was scary. Wolf Cop is another one of those that is just
That's a cheesy one.
Okay.
Cheesy, but the first one was freaking hilarious.
All right. So
It was-
It was.
scary movies. And I know I was talking about vampires. 30 Days of Night.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Dude,
Yeah.
those are some
I-
creepy vampires right there, son.
Yeah, it
That-
was. I
was
watched a couple movies yesterday. I don't normally watch a whole lot of movies, but I wasn't feeling great yesterday, so I just kind of took the evening off and was watching movies with the wife. And I picked Viking Ulven, and she watched that with me. And she goes, "You pick a movie, I pick a movie." I'm like, "Okay." And I'm thinking I'm gonna get paid back for picking a Viking werewolf movie, but and I'm just waiting. And she says, how do you feel about watching Tombstone? I'm like, there's a reason I married you.
Ain't never go wrong with Tombstone. Lay down, bro.
I have
So
not.
we watched
begun to
Tombstone
stop
again
myself.
last night. That's right.
Hey, Robbie, you're into werewolf movies, right? So
I've
Have you-
probably seen almost every cheap, cheesy, and big budget werewolf movie ever. But hit me
Then
with
you-
one.
you've seen Bubba the Redneck Zombie, then, right?
Yes, Bubba the
Werewolf.
Redneck Werewolf. I have seen it. Yes, because
That's a good.
Bubba the Redneck Werewolf actually made a guest appearance on his show, didn't he, Doc?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
our Halloween episode, we all did costumes, and that's what he
That's right,
dressed
he did.
as.
I was Bubba the Redneck Werewolf.
About that. That's right.
I was actually surprised by that one. I thought it was pretty funny.
The guy that played the devil in that movie made
Oh,
that movie. That Joker was freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, people, y'all got to go watch it. It's just you can't explain that. It is
I like the guy with the arm in his forehead.
the chef.
Yeah.
He wanted 3 arms.
I can't reach it.
Doc,
Yeah.
you got to watch it.
I ain't never seen
That
it.
surprised me. That,
Go watch it, Doc.
Oh yeah,
He-
Tucker and Dale versus
Tucker-
Evil. That was a great
Oh,
one.
that's another classic one.
That
But that was intended to be well, it had Alan Tudyk in it, so you knew it was going to be
Oh
funny.
yeah. Heck
That
yeah.
is a movie about perspectives.
yep.
Depending on what perspective you're watching at any given time, you can see everybody's point of view.
Mhm.
Yeah. Emmy Tong says, anybody ever watch the old Hammer films?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I
Christopher
grew
Lee.
up on those.
Oh yeah, man.
Christopher Lee played Count Dracula in the old Hammer horror movies.
Yeah, he is Dracula.
He's old vampire.
Oh yeah, Willow Creek.
Willow Creek was a good Bigfoot movie. I really liked
It
that.
was.
Willow Creek a few times.
The best adaptation of the novel Dracula was the one with Gary Oldman.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yep.
What was that?
With
And-
Keanu trying to do his
495, something like that.
British accent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He
It was right on the,
himself.
that was right on the heels of Bill and Ted, and I was waiting for him to just stop and go, "You're totally the Prince of Darkness, dude."
How about you, fair maiden?
What?
Be good to each other.
Strange things are afoot at the
Excellent.
vampire castle.
Yeah.
Oh, totally going to the big scary vampire castle.
sees all the vampire brides. He's like, dude.
Watch his babes, man.
They should have stuck Alex Winter in there with them, man, so they could both.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Alex
Bill and
Winter.
Ted meet Dracula. It's like the new Abbott and Costello, freaking chain of movies. Bill and Ted meet vampires. Bill and Ted meet Frankenstein.
Jessica just said something. If only Dracula had a southern accent.
Doctor
Hey,
would be playing him.
Hey y'all, I'm about to bite your neck, and I'm gonna suck on it a little bit. It might hurt some.
Well,
We
wait a
might
minute.
want to put some methylate on that or some Mercurochrome
Yeah.
after I get done, so it don't
You
get
ain't been eating no garlic.
Hey, Near Dark, man, Bill Paxton
Bill Paxton's a good one.
shaved. that barroom scene in Near Dark is great, man. I love that.
Mhm.
That's an underrated flick too.
It's a good film.
Yeah.
So, doesn't matter which genre. If you had to pick an all-time favorite horror film, what would you pick, Alan?
Man, that's rough. That's rough because
There's a lot of good ones to choose from. Doesn't matter which genre.
you know what? Okay, I just watched I watched. Well, nah. I would say Dog Soldiers. Dog Soldiers is one I can
That's a
watch.
damn good choice.
Yeah.
Doc, what about you?
Dracula Untold, Luke Evans.
Well,
Yeah, that is a good movie. Robbie, how about you, brother?
Well, it's got to be what really got me into the horror genre of horror movies. Silver Bullet.
Silver Bullet's a damn good one.
For,
If I had to pick one, I'd have to go with the original Howling.
wow.
Good call. Good call. Yeah.
That chick that played Marsha Quist, she
Sybil
was
Danning.
just perfect.
Yeah.
That was Sybil Danning, wasn't it?
I think
No,
that
that
was
was
her
in-
name. She was in an episode of Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Sybil Danning played
Oh,
the
wow.
sister in number 2.
Okay.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah. She's a big time B movie queen there.
Yes, she was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely was in that one too.
And D. Wallace Stone made the cutest werewolf at the end of that.
Yeah, it was like the
Yeah, she
Pekingese
was like a
werewolf.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'd say she like a little Pikachu. Or
You felt bad for
Pekingese
her.
or whatever.
Like it's like a little werewolf schnauzer.
And she got shot by one of the Simon and Simon brothers.
Yeah, that's right. Oh.
You didn't think about that, did you, DA?
No, I didn't.
What was it? AJ? Was he the blonde one? Because Gerald
Yeah.
McCraney was the other one. But I think he was. Was it Rick and
I think
AJ?
it was
I
AJ.
think. So I think that was
you're
AJ.
right. I think that was the one it was.
That was a good-
Northwoods, does anybody remember the cheesy 80s movie Monster Squad?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
Wolfman's
I got the
got
date for that
nards.
movie. You Wolfman's got nards.
You know, that was written by
Bogus.
Shane Black.
Bogus.
Shane
That
Black.
was written by who? You're
Shane
cutting
Black.
out, Alan.
That was
Really?
written by Shane Black. Yeah.
Yeah, that was written by Shane Black. Shane Black does some of the best dialogue in Hollywood. Lethal Weapon.
Up until his last Predator redo. Then
You didn't like that?
no, that was
really-
God Almighty. That was God
I
awful.
liked it. I thought it was good, man.
No, that was going back to the scenario of having lightning in the bottle and trying too hard to pack that lightning back in. That was all of a sudden predators are after us because we're helping them to evolve. Where did that come from?
You know,
I mean,
that
A little convoluted.
I
That
mean,
movie
you go
makes
from
sense.
they were the ultimate predators coming down here to hunt us because we're the only things that could probably give them a good hunt. To all of a sudden, they're hunting us because our DNA.
that
Where do
movie
we get that stretch from all the rest of the movies?
that's a divisive movie right there, man, among Predator fans. They either really hate it or they like
I
it.
really hate it. Trust me. That one right there almost turned me against the franchise.
I liked it.
I thought it was funny.
I can take it or leave it.
It gave me some chuckles, man.
Oh yeah.
I was waiting for Danny Glover to say I'm getting too old for this shit.
All right.
But
I-
think about that. When you take Predator 1 and 2 and you go from that to what that movie was, even
Yeah,
from Predators,
they
when
totally
they're on
don't.
the planet, it just totally. Granted, I will give you this: it was more entertaining than Predator versus Alien or Predator versus Alien Requiem.
What do you guys think of Prey?
I loved it.
I really liked Prey.
I
That
like
turned the
Prey.
franchise back around.
But there's a lot of people that are like, it's like Alan was saying, it's very divisive because I liked it.
I like
Yeah.
it. What I,
I
hate
think-
is but they killed it with bows and arrows. Boy, look at the first movie.
Wait. What do you expect them to have? It was a Native American tribe. They're not going to throw back the TP door and there's a 155 millimeter howitzer hidden in there.
I mean, look at the first movie. Schwarzenegger,
He
stabbed
dropped the
it.
big log on its head.
Well, that and she didn't really kill it with bows and arrows. She tricked it into killing itself.
That's true.
She
And that was
outsmarted the thing.
That was the whole point of the movie: is it didn't find her a threat or she wasn't worthy, so she used that.
Yeah. No, I thought it was good. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
It-
I do.
I liked it more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
I went into it thinking, oh, well, it's going to be like the last Alien, like last Predator movie. It's probably going to be weak. And there's some people that will hate on a movie because it's got a female lead, or they'll hate on a movie because they changed this character, or it wasn't like the original. I don't care about any of that. What affects me is the writing. If the writing is bad, no cast is going to save it.
Oh, dude, Amber Midthunder killed it.
Oh yeah, she's fantastic.
Her facial expressions and the way she played that against something that 9 times out of 10 wasn't even there.
Yeah,
she nailed it. And Dakota Beavers, who played her brother, that was his first movie ever.
Really?
Yes.
Well, he did a really good job.
Yeah.
And the dog was a rescue dog. It was a stray.
Yep.
Oh wow.
The
Yeah.
dog was my favorite part. I'm like you better not kill that dog. You better not kill that dog.
Same here.
Hey guys. Hey DA, I gotta go.
All right, brother.
It's
the 2-hour mark. I know we've been keeping you busy.
Oh, but I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. You guys are a lot of fun.
Dude, you're welcome to come back anytime.
Yeah,
well, thanks.
This was the kind of show that we need because there was no rail to get off of on this one.
Yeah, we were just kind of all over the place anyway.
Well, anytime you want to do that, man, just let me know and I'll jump on.
Absolutely, brother.
I enjoyed it, man. You three made it great. So
thanks, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
Well, hey, one more time before you go.
Yes.
Tell everybody where they can find your books. Tell them the titles.
Amazon. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Give us the spiel.
Okay. You can find my books on Amazon, Kindle Unlimited, Audible, in paperback on Amazon. Dead Island Operation Zulu is the name of my big series. I have 5 Roads to Texas. There's another series I write in. Zombie Island with Jason Wright and Hunt the Night with Jason Wright are 2 books. They're both on Amazon. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me in the Horror Writers Inc. group. DA's over there. I have a podcast on Thursday nights on the Weird Realities Network, Watching Weird, where we do movie reviews. I do it with 3 other writers, and we have a good time. If you tune in, we'd really appreciate it. DA, Robbie, Doc, thanks for having me on tonight, you guys.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us, brother.
Appreciate it. I enjoyed it.
Right.
Later, brother.
Later, man. And then there were 3.
Well, this would be a great time to talk about our affiliates. And since we have the man, the myth, the moron himself, Gary, why don't you tell us about Dark Angel Medical?
Well, we got a little bit of time left. So, DA talks about, we talk about all these different movies and scenarios and things like that might pop up. And life is no different than, sometimes life can be even stranger than fiction. And if you find yourself unprepared, that is a horrible, horrible place to be in. So it's kind of like, my daddy used to say, I'd rather have it and not need it, and need it, not have it. I think a good trauma kit is going to be the thing that you need if life decides to choose you, if the time chooses you. So my company, Dark Angel Medical, we produce anything from minor trauma first aid kits to major trauma first aid kits, and have been doing that for the last 12 years. If you buy one of our med kits and you don't know how to use it, we also offer training that you can come to in-person classes all over the United States. You can check our website out, darkangelmedical.com. And if you don't have time to, you work nights, just don't like being around people, whatever the thing is, you can also take the same course online now. We've launched a online training course as well. So you can get the course and you take it over a month at your leisure. So if you ever use one of our kits, that's something that DA's always talked about. If you ever use one of our kits to save your life or somebody else's life, then we will replace that kit or whatever you used 100% free of charge. And right now I'm happy to say that we have replaced over 165 kits and our components. So we got 165 more folks walking around with another birthday. So that's darkangelmedical.com. And if you use the code CRYPTID25, that is our highest discount code we give. You get 25% off of your order. So just head over there, check out our stuff. And also, It is FSA, HSA eligible. So if you have an HSA or FSA account, then through your work, you can use that to purchase those products from our website. And that's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got
Well,
to say.
it's a good thing the Kit for Life guarantee doesn't exist in the books because you'd be bankrupt.
Oh my God, dude! Yeah. You might even see some of the kits in DA's books if you pay attention. So yeah.
People they're busting them kits out on people all the time.
Holy crap, man! Yeah, faux show. Using them on a regular.
Pretty much. I think Clark alone probably has 4 used on him.
That boy's always getting into something.
And that's just in the first 2 books he's in.
Exactly.
Well, when you're a shit magnet, it happens.
You ain't lying.
Robbie, you want to tell us about Scallywag Tactical?
Sure. As we've always said, we love our veteran-owned companies like Dark Angel Medical with a doc there. We also like Scallywag Tactical, which is owned by Craig Burhart. He is a veteran, and he makes some of the best knives that you will ever put your hands on. This is the Jolly Roger. And I also have the Orca right here. My Dew Claw is packed up right now, or I would show you that. But I'm sure DA probably got one hanging around that he could pull out. He's got like every one of the
buried.
But the quality of these knives, I mean, y'all, those of y'all who are on here a lot hear us talk about that, but we're not lying. I mean, these things are just like, I have never had a knife that keeps an edge. I've opened about 15 Amazon boxes with this knife, and it's still as sharp as it was when I pulled it out of the package. So they've got a thing on there called blemish blades too, and a lot of times it's just the box that's messed up. This was a blemish blade. I mean, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with this blade whatsoever. It was the box that was messed up. So that will stack up with what's on the screen right here. Using code DA Roberts 10 will get you 10% off, and that stacks up with any of the sales you get from the blemish blade. So you can get yourself some pretty good deals, and they're always adding stuff to those blemish blades. But that code is good for any of the regular knives too. Head on over that, use that link there, tell them we sent you. We don't get a kickback from this. It's just a company that we really believe in. Every one of us have got multiple of their knives. I think DA's got just about every folder that they make. He's
most of them.
But you got most of them.
I just got a box in the mail from him the other day, and I bought a couple more of the Orcas. We got this off the blemish blade. I don't see anything wrong with it at all. The box is fine. The Orca itself, there's not a mark on it. It says blemish blade, but I don't see why. I mean, even the box is in fine condition. I got it for $8, less the 10% discount. So I got it for $7.20. I got a couple of them to give to my boys.
I got this one, and I got the Sailor Assisted Folder, that copper one. Both of these knives together, or each of these knives are over $40 knives, and I got both of them with shipping and everything off the blemish blades. I paid $26 with shipping to get both these knives. You can't go to Walmart and get one of their Gerbers for under that. And this is way better than any Gerber you're ever going to buy.
And you can get that one right now on the blemish blades for, I think it's $10.
Yeah, 10 or 15. One was 10, one was 15. I don't remember which was which, but the Jolly Roger and the Sailor Assisted Folder, one was 10 and one was 15. So you can't go wrong with either one of those. If you want a slim, fits smaller in your pocket or flatter in your pocket rather, you might want to go with a Sailor Assisted Folder. But if you want a big, bulky, everyday carry that's going to do anything you need it to do, this Jolly Roger is, and it's got,
I've got the dark handle Jolly Roger, and that's my everyday carry.
This is a great knife. It's just, It's thick. It's sharp. You're not gonna mess this knife up, or any of their knives. And like I said, I'd show you the dew claw and show you how thick the. You got any one of your fixed blades, DA, where you can show them how the full tang?
I believe I've got the. Yeah, here's the. Well, if I don't knock everything flying, here's the gunner's mate.
Yeah, I mean those are well made. I mean, they're full tang, they're heavy, they're sharp, they're dangerous, which is everything a knife should be.
And they hold an edge like.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I even got the bad fish to put in my tackle box.
And I imagine it's just as sharp as the rest of them, right?
Oh yeah, it's pretty wicked sharp. It's a filleting knife. I mean,
So it's probably sharp.
Be sharp. Yeah. Well, I'll have to get out and show you the blade on it.
They got
I'm
a
not
cool
going to try to cut paper with it. Oh yeah, that one's a nice little knife.
Oh yeah, that little dagger.
Yeah.
Here's the bad fish. It's just a neat little knife, and it is wicked sharp. Yeah, that one's going in my tackle box.
Doc, are those daggers just as sharp as the rest of the knife?
Yeah. If you look at them wrong, they'll cut you 3 ways: long, deep, and continuous.
I like that.
That's what a good knife's supposed to do.
Son, they are sharp. It don't take you long to feel that edge. Just ask my son-in-law. I gave him that Jolly Roger for Christmas, and he's like, "Oh," he just barely touched that blade and cut the crap out of himself. It's like, I told you it was sharp, goober.
No kidding.
Oh man. Well, all right, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Anything? Anyone? Bueller?
Bueller.
443 Big Book says, just a little disclosure, I'm in my mid-late 20s. The first werewolf adjacent movie I watched was Ginger Snaps sometime around 2000.
I remember that.
I don't know that I've seen that one.
I remember that.
Yes, it's one of them coming of age type movies about the two sisters, and they're in the goth stuff, and one of them gets attacked by a werewolf on her the day she has her first
that thing.
Lady things.
When she comes of age.
Yes, comes of age. There you go. Nicely put, Doc.
Thank you, sir.
And then she starts turning into a werewolf. So, I mean, it's not a bad movie, but
no, I mean it is what it is.
Yeah.
Budget and I was going to say the same thing Two Shadows did. It's better than Twilight. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
My daughters like, Twitter pated over Sparkly Boy, and I was like, good Lord, have mercy. Ugh.
Yeah,
if you'd have taken all the Indian legends and the werewolf parts, taking that out and made a movie about just that part of it, might have been a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
Leave all the sparkly fellers over there and let them do all their stuff over yonder somewhere.
I'm usually pretty fervently in the vampire, side, but I was like,
so Doc, you Team Jacob, right? I got to tell you.
No, I would have been firmly in the total party kill category.
Yeah, like mutually assured destruction.
That's right. They all died.
Yeah, I didn't care for it. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Jacob was the werewolf, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't watch those.
I don't know.
I liked the idea behind the werewolves there. It was more like a big dire wolf. So I liked that idea. That's what I was talking about, and it was tied into to the native.
That's why Viking Olven was.
They
was like a big dire wolf.
Yeah, they didn't turn until there was a need for them to, something threatened the community, threatened the village, threatened, then they started turning. I like that theory and that idea. But
Yeah,
as far as the rest of it goes,
I'm with Emmy. I'm with Emmy. Lon Chaney as Wolfman was a great movie. I remember that with
Yeah.
what was the fortune teller's name? Olga
Maliva.
Ospinskaya.
You talking about her real name or the name?
Yeah, their real name was like her last name was Maria Ospinskaya or something like that. The gypsy lady.
Yeah,
you can tell her. I
but
remember
her character name was Maliva.
Yeah, that was a good flick. That was the first time they started using the time lapse. One of the first movies they used a time lapse to show the hair growth and everything, which was back in that day. That was groundbreaking cinematography.
People seeing that for the first time in the movie theater were like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
but there was the Werewolf in London actually predated that by about 6 to 10 years, I believe. Yeah, that was the one where I know you've seen it where the old guy's going. And he's turning into the werewolf, and he's got the overbite. I know you've seen you didn't know that's what you were seeing, but that was the movie Werewolf in London. The guy's a botanist, and he goes somewhere, I think like Tibet or something like that, and kind of sort of like what the story that Sir John tells in the Benicio del Toro version. He was in Tibet, and I think he was bitten by some kind of wild person while he was over there looking for some kind of but it's actually the very first transformation on scene or on screen rather. I told y'all I was a wealth of useless werewolf movie knowledge.
Yeah, and Bela Lugosi was in. I think he was one of the gypsies.
Yes.
But I did love him in the original Dracula. I got the original Dracula movie poster up in my cave here. So yeah, that's one of my favorites. That's the vampire movie that got me started on vampires.
I was going to say something else, and I don't remember what it was. Train of thoughts completely derailed. Louis Noriega said, "What about Three Stooges? Three Stooges versus the werewolf." The Three Stooges films were always just, they were pretty freaking funny. I always loved the Three Stooges.
I remember that one.
I do too.
Oh man.
Boys, it is coming up on a 2.5 hour mark. I think we'll start wrapping things up with the Ozarks goodnight.
Well, yeah, let's do it.
Robbie, you want to tell us a little bit about your podcast before we start winding down?
Sure. Actually just had our finally got back on track. Imagine that. We just had a episode drop this morning at 8:00 on the Rougarou. So we've got an episode that's going to drop on Friday, then one next Tuesday, and then one the Friday after that. But hopefully we'll be back and start getting some recordings done. We got the Rougarou dropped today. We did one on the Oklahoma Girl Scout murders and skinwalkers. We did one on the UFO phenomenons we got going on, and we actually did one where which is kind of funny. Norm brought this up, but I kind of started the show, but I'd never talked about my encounter on the show. I mean, I'd kind of mentioned it here and there, but I never sat down and actually told my story on the show. And Johnny really never told his whole story. So Norm kind of took the driver's seat on that one and kind of interviewed me and Johnny on
that's cool.
On our stories. So we got those coming out. And also, if anybody's interested, this weekend, if you're in Georgia, I'll be with the Cryptid Huntress, Miss Jessica Jones. I'll be with her at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference on Saturday. So if anybody's in the area and wants to come say hi, we'll be down there. She's got to speak, but I'm going to be walking around, nosing around, seeing what I can get into. So.
Well, I wish I was going to be there with you, brother. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Yeah. So I want to say a big shout out to the mods tonight. Mods did a fantastic job. Appreciate you guys keeping the chat going. Moderators do a fantastic job, and I appreciate you guys so much. I want to give a shout out for my Patreon channel. If you are not a member of the Patreon and would like to be, you can check it out over at patreon.com/DARobertsauthor. There's a lot of stuff going on over there that is not posted anywhere else. I have several short stories that are over there, as well as the first few chapters of the 2 books that are currently in progress. You get about the first, I want to say 20, 25 pages of each book. So those are available now over there to be read on the Patreon. They're also getting advanced looks at some of the cover concepts that we're working on. Those have not been revealed anywhere yet, except for with them and the alpha readers. So if you guys have not had a chance to check that out, we've got several short stories that are nowhere else but on the Patreon. And the Patreon, your support on the Patreon channel really does a lot of help. I mean, I appreciate it so much. I want to say a big thank you to all the Patreon supporters. You guys are so awesome. So I appreciate that, folks. And again, you can check that out over patreon.com/DARobertsauthor. The new book is out. It has been up for a bit. And for those of you who may not have seen it, want to throw this back up there because I'm super excited about it. Please tell me I didn't delete that. Oh, there it is, right there.
I know you had to delete that.
Dark Frontiers First Hunt was a #1 new release in Western horror fiction, and it is still doing well on the charts. I think it is currently #5 in Western horror fiction, or at least it was before the show.
Yeah.
Hope you guys will check it out.
Let's get that back up to #1.
Yeah, definitely get that back up to #1. This is the cover. It is a cryptid horror story set right at the end of the Civil War in 1865. Whole new cast of characters, and a couple of them based on a couple of these fellas right here. And it was a fun story to write. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to write the sequel to it. I've got sequels planned. I've actually got the next dozen sequels party planned for this series. And for those of you who are members of the Patreon, you'll be able to look at the next 52 projects that I've got set out that are going to happen at some point, and I don't know in what particular order. So there's a lot of input that they can have on shaping which books come next, which order. They will affect a lot of things. So hopefully you guys will check that out and become part of that over there at the Patreon community. So again, thank you guys. Thanks to the moderators. Thanks to the Patreons. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this Wednesday evening. Big shout out and thanks to Alan Gamboa for hanging out with us tonight. Alan's a hoot. He's a great writer. I hope you'll check his books out. Heck of a good dude. And it was fun just hanging out and talking about horror novels and movies that we all liked. And this was a little more lighthearted episode, but hope you'll be with us this coming Saturday. This show is shaping out to be a part 2 of the multinational Dogman show we did once before. I've got most of the guys from the previous show. Leon from England is already in. I believe Toom already said he's in, and waiting to hear back from John Kershaw. So we'll have 2 Aussies and a Brit, and maybe someone else. Who knows? So look for another international Dogman show where we talk about sightings and research and things going on in their areas. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Karen Polson says she's excited to see Demons Part 2 on Patreon. She just reread Part 1. Demons Part 2 is in the works, as is another Steve Lilly story. It's going to be called Apex Predator Lily Moon. That one will be debuting there, and then of course Cam is gonna have it this coming Saturday. Again, we're gonna have the International Dogman. The following Wednesday, what is that? The 5th of April, the guys from the Strange Road are back. And on the 8th of the next Saturday, a week from Saturday, the 8th, looks like it's probably going to be Cam Buckner is going to be on the show. He's going to let me know for sure tomorrow, but he gave me a tentative yes earlier today. And then on the 12th of April, we're having Ron Moorhead, Ron, famous for recording the Sierra Sounds. So we've got a pretty action-packed month, and we're still lining up more guests for the rest of the month. So look for the next month to be a pretty solid one for lineups. Hey guys, I'm Strange Rotor in the chat. What's up, guys?
What's up, boys?
Definitely going to be looking forward to having you guys next week. It is going to be a lot of fun. Last time they were on, we ended up going, what was it, 3.5, 4 hours?
Yeah, because I had to bow out early, and early is the 2.5 hour marks when I bow out.
So yeah, look for another big show with them, because we had a lot to talk about last time, and I think we were just getting wound up when we kind of called things for the night, because it was getting late for everybody.
Hopefully,
But
I'll
that's
get to stay through the whole thing this time.
yeah, hopefully that would be awesome. But that's kind of what we got in the works. And the two current projects that I'm working on the first book of my fantasy series, which is the first book is called Heart of Iron. It's book 1 of the Blood and Redemption series. Blood and Redemption trilogy. There'll be 3 books in the series. And I'm going to do a series of trilogies in the fantasy universe. But the first one's called Heart of Iron. I'm about 35,000 words into it. It's coming along well. I was just talking to the guy today, Josh Jones. You guys know who he is. If you guys have been around the show for a while. I was talking to Josh today. We're finalizing the map, very detailed map that's going to be inside the book of the little world there. And Adam has been already working on cover concepts, so that will probably be the next release. And right on its heels will be the second of the Nightmare Hunter series. This is going to be called the Nightmare Hunter Project. The Curse of the Rougarou. It's set down in and around the area around Hammond, Louisiana, and going to be in and out of the swamps. And I'm about 15,000 words into that. I've got a couple of short stories that are going to be done probably fairly soon, and that'll be the Steve Lilly, Apex Predator Lily Moon, and the next part of Demons, part 2 of Demons, which is a Margolin story. So look for all that stuff coming in the very near future. We're already working on cover concepts. People in the Patreon community are getting to look at that stuff before it's out, and I'm getting a lot of really good feedback from them. How we can make the covers better. What they like, what they don't like. They're really asking them for a lot of stuff. Value their input on how to make these books as great as we possibly can. So that's the projects. That's what's coming. That's what's coming for the show for the next few weeks. So we've got a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of great things coming, and I hope you guys will join us this Saturday night when we will be doing the international roundtable with the Dogman crew again, and it's going to be a good night. Hopefully, Robbie and Doc will both be able to join us. We might have an Anthony sighting. Who knows? We might even have a Steve sighting. So maybe it'll be a full house. So hopefully you guys will see everybody then. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on a Wednesday night. I say it all the time. We don't have fans, we have friends. And tonight was just a great night of just got a bunch of guys folks hanging around, having a conversation about old monster movies and things like that. And it was a lot of fun just hanging out and talking. And that's something we hope we always can do. Is just give the feel of it's just a conversation between folks. And we enjoy doing that, and that's something we want to continue to do. Don't forget to go over and check out darkangelmedical.com. Use discount code Cryptid25 for 25% off your order. Because I can't say this enough. I trusted my life to Dark Angel kits for a reason. They are the best in the business as far as I'm concerned. Check out Scallywag Tactical, another veteran-owned company. Doc's a vet, U.S. Air Force veteran. We big supporter of our veteran-owned companies. Scallywag Tactical makes amazing blades. You guys already heard us talk about that. But check them out at scallywagtactical.com. Don't forget to use discount code DARoberts10 for 10% off your entire purchase. That includes the blemished blades. So I hope you guys check that out as well. Go over by What's Really Out There and give Robbie a like and subscribe. Tell him we sent you. I'm sure he'll figure it out, though. But we've had a good time tonight, folks, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And we very, very much appreciate each and every one of you guys hanging out with us and being part of the DAX Machina Nation. So Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys will hit that like and subscribe button, and hopefully we will see you guys on Saturday night. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for joining us. Catch us again Wednesdays and Saturdays on DAX Machina. A special thanks to all our channel members and Patreon supporters. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.